Presidential savings on Omaha Steaks favorites, including tender steaks, ocean fresh seafood, air-chilled chicken, and more during their President's Day sale. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code SIZZLE at checkout and get $30 off your order. No one comes close to matching the flavor, tenderness, and value of Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, use promo code SIZZLE at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
John's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Columbo and Katie.
On Friday, we'll get you ready for the weekend with all the latest news and headlines you need to know. Plus, we'll get the weekend forecast from Steve Templeton at 2:45 and wrap up your week with a little Friday fun time.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Hey, it's Tim Jones. You need an event space that people will talk about later and forever. View 17 in Brentwood is that place. Perfect for corporate, private, or even public events. View 17 is ultra modern and fully broadcast ready for live streaming your event. And get this, all tech rentals are included in the rental fee. View 17 on the 17th floor of the old U Club Tower, like no other event space in the area. What a view. Check it out right now at VUE17.com. VUE17.com. I might even see you there.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. That's 800-979-3060.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson here. Everybody here at News Talk STL is incredibly grateful for the growth of our business during our first 18 months since we signed on the air. We appreciate the great local businesses like Clear Path Wealth Management, STL Fence Works, and Michael's Flooring that have all become advertising partners. If your business is interested in becoming part of the News Talk STL family, simply send an email to info@newstalkstl.com. Thanks for listening to News Talk STL. Welcome home.
The latest news.
Canadian and American fighter jets were scrambled. American F-22 successfully shot down the object.
The news you need to know.
Have you ruled out aliens or extraterrestrials?
I haven't ruled out anything.
What China did was completely unacceptable and a real threat to American sovereignty.
What's gone on the last 10 days has been nothing short of craziness.
It's a violation of international law. It's our airspace.
And the place to talk about it.
Should alarm Americans.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Go in the app. Just say,
Alexa, play news from Fox.
In Fox News.
It's the latest when you need it on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Friday, February 17th. This is the Fox News Rundown. A hearing today for 5 former Memphis police officers charged in the death of Tyree Nichols. The 5 have been out on bond after they were charged with second-degree murder in Nichols' killing, who was pulled over and fatally beaten. The prosecution in the murder trial of a former attorney accused of murdering his wife and son are expected to rest their case before the weekend. Alec Murdaugh accused of killing his wife and son to divert attention from investigation into his alleged financial crimes. Vice President Kamala Harris attends a meeting today with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Munich, Germany. And big travel headaches expected to persist today in New York, where JFK's Terminal 1 remains closed because of a power outage from an electrical fire. This man venting his frustration yesterday.
I hate traveling. I used to love it, but now I hate it.
Hundreds of flights incoming and outgoing were canceled and diverted yesterday. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Shooting down a balloon.
Have you ruled out aliens or extraterrestrials?
I haven't ruled out anything.
1019 and 94.1
Should alarm Americans.
News Talk STL.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
St. Louis City is asleep at the wheel. Wake up. Dream time is over. We must have safety and security back in our city. How? Matt Catraba, a lifelong St. Louisan, says it starts with returning to a state-controlled police department to stop this nightmare. He will put his 40 years of large-scale management experience in Ward 1 to bring safety for you. Vote Matt Catraba for Alderman on March 7th and April 4th. Follow Matt at stlvoters.com. Paid for by Catraba for St. Louis. Deb Bennett, Treasurer.
Columbo and Katie.
Mark Lauder, Chief Communications Officer at the America's First Policy Institute.
It doesn't matter whether it's Trump, Pence, DeSantis, Pompeo, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, all the names that have been rumored about, aside obviously Donald Trump has announced, they're all going to be running on the same policies. Yeah. I mean, they're all going to be running on what I like to call America First policy.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick, weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you are a timeshare owner, you're probably upset that your yearly dues continue to increase. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and done in a specific time frame. They're the only company you can trust, having helped more than 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out. So please call Lone Star Transfer 855-551-7066 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Friday, as you may know, 3 young people are dead after yet another mass shooting. This one at Michigan State University. As usual, left-wing politicians want to crack down on guns, but not on the criminals who shoot them. Far-left Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is demanding more gun control, even as she knows the killer, who committed suicide, was allowed to walk free by a progressive prosecutor whom Whitmer supported. Here is the situation. In the year 2019, Anthony McRae was arrested for illegally carrying a handgun. Instead of being charged with a felony, soft-on-crime DA Carol Seaman, a favorite of George Soros, dismissed the felony charge, which carries a 5-year prison term, and accepted a misdemeanor plea from McRae. Well, the criminal walked, receiving 12 months probation. If Seaman had done her elected job, McRae would still be in prison, and the 3 young people would be alive today. Despite that, the progressive left continues to push soft-on-crime policies as the body count mounts. This brutal situation has been going on far too long. Reasonable gun restrictions, okay, but violent crime will never improve unless the criminals themselves are held to account. Back after this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
The latest news.
Canadian and American fighter jets were scrambled. American F-22 successfully shot down the object.
The news you need to know.
Have you ruled out aliens or extraterrestrials?
I haven't ruled out anything.
What China did was completely unacceptable and a real threat to American sovereignty.
What's gone on the last 10 days has been nothing short of craziness.
It's a violation of national law. It's our airspace.
And the place to talk about it.
Should alarm Americans.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Made in for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Happy Friday to you. Guess what? The News Talk STL family has grown yet again. Starting this weekend, we've got a brand new show, local, News Talk, political, you name it. We are adding Mark McCloskey to the list of hosts right here on this radio station. Hey, I'm Mike Ferguson, and guess what? A little bit later on today, Mark's going to join us, and we're going to have a chat with him. It is always lively when Mark is on with us, and he'll tell you about what to expect from his program, which, like I said, starts this weekend. Going to be a lot of fun. All right, education, both K through 12 and particularly at the university level. You know, one of the things that they're seeing, students and families abandoning them. How much of that is because of their identity politics and their diversity, equity, and inclusion, the DEI type stuff? Well, our friends over at the Herzog Foundation joined us on Thursday. Daryl Jones, the president of the foundation, was with us, kind of going through what the trends are, why they're happening, and what can we do to either reverse the trend or at least try to protect our kids from the indoctrination that goes with it.
When you look at education, I mean, things like identity politics, you could call it, diversity, equity, inclusion. Or Stell, you have a different take on it, right?
Well, I kind of flip them around and do DIE, diversity, inclusion, equity, just because I think people die from it.
Yeah, and certainly culture dies from it. But DEI initiatives may be driving students away from schools and education. And part of that's the market talking. A lot of that is the market talking, but it's also the market saying something's wrong.
Right.
We're joined now by Daryl Jones from the Herzog Foundation. Daryl, let's go into that just a little bit. What do we know about the movement right now of families and students moving away from, public schools or the traditional academia, and how much of these identity politics and DEI initiatives are involved in that?
Sure. Well, listen, good morning. Great to be with you this morning. Estelle, I like that. EIE. That makes a lot of sense and is rather descriptive, as a matter of fact.
It's all yours. I give you permission to use it. Go ahead. You're fine.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, what's interesting to me, guys, is colleges are seeing it as well as K through 12. I mean, the public system of education across the country is seeing this major decline. And when you do the math, when you look, if anybody does that anymore, when you begin looking at, what's going on, college enrollment has fallen by over 1 million students over the last year. It would be interesting if you just said across the board, all colleges are dropping, but that's not true. Conservative schools have grown substantially while the public schools are in decline. That's at the collegiate level. Now look at the K through 12 level. The exact same kind of formula is taking place where there's a major decline and loss of enrollment in public K through 12 schools, private schools, Christian schools, and certainly home schools are they're in the rise. They're growing at phenomenal rates. I've talked to educators that Christian schools that have had waiting lists in the past, they have no waiting list. They can't build classroom space quickly enough for the demand that's coming to them.
Hey, Daryl, this is Paul Kurtman. I'd like to ask you a question about this data and this loss of enrollment in schools right now. So I know, like, when I follow social media, when I'm involved in different business organizations, there's also a push on the other side to say, hey, you don't need to go to school to get a or a women's studies degree. You go out and become
that's women's studies with a Y. Just, I want to point that out. Yeah.
Okay, got it. They say you don't need to get that degree. Go out and get a technical degree. Go out and find something where there's a real demand for it. So there's that too. And then you just consider the fact that people don't want to go to class just to get beat up and be told you're an oppressor and be, Libs of TikTok has done a lot to really educate the public about what's going on in schoolrooms. Is this data, are we able to pinpoint it strictly to some of these woke policies, or is it kind of a mix of woke policies and also just a bunch of senseless degrees that people just aren't just really attracted to? They don't see it as being valuable.
That's exactly. It's both of those things. It's woke ideologies that have replaced classical learning in classrooms, both at the K through 12 level as well as at the collegiate level. But yeah, you are seeing an increase in trades. I mean, there's a real untapped market there. A number of Christian schools that I'm talking to are really looking at trying to incorporate trades education even into their curriculum and the kinds of things that they're doing. But again, it's interesting to see that it's not that America has just decided that they don't need college degrees anymore. They're only leaving the public colleges, the state universities. They are, they're enrolling, in increasing numbers into conservative schools.
We're visiting with Daryl Jones.
Both at the collegiate level and at the K through 12.
My apologies, Daryl. We're visiting with Daryl Jones from the Herzog Foundation, and my wife is a professor at a conservative university. She's a professor at Concordia University of Chicago, although we live here in St. Louis. She is saying that there is so much public pressure on universities like hers and some others to have these DEI panels. And so what they decided to do, and they made my wife like the chair of this, is they said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to establish a panel that is kind of the anti-DEI, and we're going to focus on treating everybody as individuals the way God sees them. And it really kind of pushed back against the narrative that you're talking about. And I think as a result, they're being taken more seriously by people who are saying, stop being run by this cultural Marxist nonsense.
It's true. Wouldn't it be amazing if every person were judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now, there's a novel idea.
Daryl, so let me ask you this question. What are the schools doing? I mean, are they taking notice of this? Are they beginning to change their policy? Do we see a reversal of this trend or anything like that?
Well, not at the state level. I mean, not at the public institutions. It's almost like they're doubling down and just writing people off as fascists and the collateral damage, and really doubling down. It's and it's interesting. You see it often in blue states. To be honest with you, where you have ideologies that are pushing woke. The politicalization of education, the politicalization of everything, for crying out loud. But certainly at the education level, you're just seeing this doubling down, and yet oftentimes, I mean, certainly take for example, Sarah Huckabee Sanders' speech, her response last week, and in her state. She's saying, look, we're going to expand education choice and give parents the right to choose what they want for their children. And across the country, you're seeing, movements like that.
Daryl, if I can piggyback a little bit on Paul's comment regarding the educational system, do you have any thoughts or insights regarding Charlie Kirk's book, College Scam, which I know has helped parents figure out, well, maybe my kids don't need to go to college. Maybe the workforce would be better for them.
Yeah, Charlie has been a great proponent of trades, but just growing intellectually. And you don't necessarily need a college degree to say that you do that. He's been a great spokesperson across the country for that that mindset for sure. But yeah, there is. I think there is. What COVID exposed as to what was going on in classrooms. Parents are beginning to adjust accordingly, not necessarily waiting for the system to change or to be modified. They're just taking their family back, their kids back, and saying, okay, what does Johnny need? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? And how can we help Johnny be the best person that he can be?
Okay, and along those lines, I mean, obviously, this is what you all do at the Herzog Foundation, is a parent says, I don't want my kids subjected to this nonsense, this ideology, this basically activism that opposes what I believe in so many cases. So how do they take advantage of the opportunities that are out there right now to protect their kids? Because in the end, we can debate the policies and the ideologies, and we should. But in the end, if you're somebody like, say, Paul's and his wife Ruth's their age, and they've got little kids and they're making education plans, how do they make sure that they've got the ability to put their kids in the best setting possible, not just for actual learning, but for the actual moral development of their kids as well?
You bet. Well, at the Herzog Foundation, we are focused on K through 12 Christian education, advancing Christian education, an environment that embraces the faith of families and isn't hostile towards it. One of the latest initiative that we've really pushed and rolled out as a foundation is what we call Schoolbox, hfschoolbox.com, all one word. And it's basically an online platform to allow, small groups of people, whether it's the three of us and our families decide we want a Christian school in our church or we want one in our neighborhood, in our cul-de-sac. Schoolbox will help us launch that school, state specific, beginning with, step 1, step 2. And we have a roadmap of how would you start a Christian school. Even if we just want a one-room schoolhouse for a dozen students, HF Schoolbox will do that, or it'll do a 5-day-a-week, K through 12 traditional or classical school. It also helps homeschool parents. What's been interesting to me, the latest statistic, right in line with what we're talking about, 2-to-1 K through 12 families are choosing to homeschool as opposed to paying tuition somewhere else, and even in private school. 2-to-1, they're opting for homeschool. So if you have a bunch of homeschool families that are just individually out there, homeschool co-ops are cooperative that, the parents and the students get together typically once a week at some venue or location and just swap best practices, best curriculums for reading, best curriculums for mathematics. HF Schoolbox will also help launch homeschool co-ops that, again, are sustainable and able to help families choose for their children the kind of education that they want.
Okay, and where do they find all of this, including the newsletter? And I encourage people to sign up for the newsletter as well. I get it, and I know it's free and it's really useful information.
Yeah, everything that we do, all of the services, all of the initiatives are free of charge. That really is our mission in keeping with Stan Herzog's directive to advance Christian education. But if you go to HerzogFoundation.com, HERZOG, HerzogFoundation.com, everything that we have. The Lion is our online news source. We're writing 10 to 15 articles every day just talking about what's going on across the country, and certainly in K through 12 education, addressing culture, addressing faith, addressing just all of the things that families care about. ReadLion.com is that post, but you can access it all from HerzogFoundation.com.
All right, Daryl Jones, Herzog Foundation. Good talking to you again. Thanks so much.
Great talking to you. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Going to bring you up to date with all the news that you need to be informed with what's happening. News Roundup starting in about 4 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Well, we all made it to Friday. We'll have Zach Smith, our legal eagle, at 4:25. At 5:25, The Economy with Dr. Aaron Hedlund.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Hi, Sean Long for STL FenceWorks. For over 50 years, our time-honored commitment to quality, service, and affordability make STL FenceWorks the go-to authority for fence, deck, and leisure space projects. During these unsure times of severe inflation and supply shortages, you can depend on STL FenceWorks to meet your needs. Being the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state, we've leveraged our position to make contract buy-ins hedging against price increases. Also, our buying power has allowed us to stockpile fence and deck material. There are no shortages at STL FenceWorks. In fact, we have more fence and deck material on hand now than we have had at any time in our 50-year history. Lastly, our commitment to a quality and customer-first approach has never wavered. Your project will be completed by experienced craftsmen in a timely manner, and our lifetime warranty reinforces that commitment. STL FenceWorks warranty surpasses anything offered in the industry. Visit STLFenceWorks.com and allow us to bring your backyard dreams to life. As always, at STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Tony Colombo here, inviting you to a great night of live music on Saturday, February 18th as Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen, plays at Diamond Music Hall in St. Peters. 2 huge sets of music by Somebody to Love, 1 full night of Queen. This show is absolutely incredible, so support local music and mark your calendar now for Saturday, February 18th. Get your tickets at diamondmusichall.com, and I'll see you there. Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet.
Hi, Susie Moore here. American culture is at a crossroads. My friend and co-worker at Red State, Kira Davis, has written a new book called Drawing Lines: Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas. She challenges conservative Americans to stop retreating from culture and helps you to think critically through the pressing cultural issues of our day and offers practical advice and solutions. It's time for conservatives to make themselves uncomfortable and get engaged, get inspired, get moving, and get winning. Pick up a copy of Kira's new book, Drawing Lines, available at Amazon, FaithfulTexts.com, or wherever books are sold.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This is Julia Gordon-Bramer, your host of Mystic Fix. I'm a professional tarot card reader, author, and scholar of mysticism. Mystic Fix offers playful, practical advice and spiritual tools for modern living. It's a program for the whole being and journeying the lesser-traveled paths. Each show features guests and authors in lively conversation, ranging from crystals to Kabbalah, yoga to Yetis, and of course, tarot card reading.
Mystic Fix, Saturday nights at 8 on News Talk STL.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
I'm just going to say Happy Friday and not sing it the way Tim Jones does.
Oh, I don't know. I bet you could do it very nicely.
Oh, no.
No.
Singing is not my thing.
It
Not
is
like
pretty
Tim's.
funny. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said not like Tim's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he does a really good job. And he's kind of on key, which is good.
He really is. So, if the News Talk thing doesn't work out after, the political thing, then he can go into showbiz.
Yep.
Go, Tim, go. All right. Hey, good morning. It is coming up on 5:52. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Estelle Ponticus. All right. I really did not want to talk about this again today, but there's new documentation that now shows a St. Louis Children's Hospital doctor actively encouraged an elementary school teacher in the area, in the Parkway District, to push a fifth grader to be trans. Fifth grader. So I think Parkway School District has some things to answer for. Definitely, we've got more information about what's happening at this monstrous clinic in St. Louis.
So that would be 11-year-old?
Yeah, 10 or 11, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey was in the studio yesterday with Tim Jones and Susie Moore, who was filling in for Chris Harps. And if you want to catch that podcast, just go to the News Talk STL podcast and get that. I've got some comments from the Attorney General in the show later today, but he was making it pretty clear he's going to be very aggressive with what's happening at Wash U and St. Louis Children's Hospital, and he should. Also, it's a good thing for Don Lemon that he's a leftist. Because, Stell, I'm telling you, he would get canceled for sexism if he were a conservative and said exactly what he said. Oh, my gosh.
Don Lemon.
Yes. Don Lemon. I'm actually glad he's on CNN because I forgot to pay attention to him like most of the country. And he's actually got some gold for us here in Talk Radio.
He does, yeah.
His comments on Nikki Haley were just unbelievable. And, of course, a baseball legend here in St. Louis and a broadcasting legend passes away. We'll get to that in just a moment. All right, boy, we don't have a lot of time. We'll get through as many of these stories as we can here. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, as we told you yesterday, took some Republican lawmakers to the border in Tucson on Thursday. And McCarthy pointing a finger at the head of Homeland Security, who faces impeachment efforts from his fellow Republicans.
No one believes our border is secure. Not the border agents, not America. Mayorkas has no integrity to continue to say that.
Yeah, and of course the White House says this was a publicity stunt and we're doing a great job on the border. Just don't look at what's happening at the border.
Anything the right does is a publicity stunt.
Publicity stunt,
yeah.
Yes.
When the left does it, it's totally on board, yeah.
And Karina Jean-Pierre said, we've got the receipts. No, you really don't, KJP. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of the president, we're learning of another search for classified documents at a college in President Biden's home state of Delaware. Fox News' Jackie Heinrich has this report, and she is reporting from the White House.
We can confirm that the FBI searched the University of Delaware on 2 occasions for Biden classified documents. We are told that they didn't find any with classified markings, but they did take some materials for additional review. We don't know when the searches happened. We're told that they were consensual. The FBI and the DOJ are not commenting, and as we expected, the White House also punted questions. The press secretary declined to say what prompted the search, but it is the 4th location tied to Biden that federal investigators have now combed through, and now the 2nd location that Biden's attorneys did not voluntarily disclose.
Here's what I don't understand, Stell, is if they did the search, they did not find any classified documents. First of all, that's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why weren't they putting out in press releases? Why are they not telling us about that?
Because they seem to hide everything.
Yeah, that's a bizarre one. If something went their way, you would think they would go, aha, told you, but they don't want to talk about this one either. That's really strange to me.
And besides the fact that we know that China has contributed multi-millions to that university.
Yeah, could be something there. We'll just have to kind of wait and see and hope that the media, at least the conservative media, does its job. All right, a St. Louis legend, both on the field and off the field, has passed away. Former Major League Baseball player and Hall of Fame broadcaster Tim McCarver has died. You told me this. You texted me this. I couldn't believe it. I know he was 81, but come on, man. It's Tim McCarver. They're not supposed to ever go away.
That's right.
Fox News' Eric Messersmith has more.
During his playing days, McCarver won a pair of World Series titles as a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals and then went on to an incredibly successful career analyzing the game on TV. After retiring, McCarver quickly became one of the most recognizable broadcasters in the game and became known nationally, especially during his nearly 2 decades at Fox. He was the lead analyst for more than 20 World Series broadcasts and won 6 Emmys for his work on television. As a player, McCarver was a 2-time All-Star during his 21-year career and formed a successful partnership with Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Gibson. Tim McCarver was 81. I'm Eric Messersmith, Fox News.
Some more thoughts on that just ahead, along with the do's and don'ts of the Mardi Gras parade in St. Louis, just ahead.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. My wife and I wake up every day thankful to the Wallners for the great new home they helped us find and for the tremendous success we experienced while selling our old home. The Wallners have years of experience and a work ethic that is second to none, and for us, the results speak for themselves. But Tim, it's not just the Colombo family. So many St. Louis families have been helped by Rodney and Jen Wallner.
They sure have, Tony. So if you have been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. The market is changing, but it's still a great time to sell. Put that experience and work ethic to work for you and see firsthand why the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor before this window of opportunity passes you by. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wonder to yourself about how much you can get for it or how fast it could sell. Just call the Wallner team now and get those answers so you don't have to worry or wonder another day. Just call 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. That's 800-649-8619.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A toxic nightmare for residents of East Palestine, Ohio and surrounding areas dealing with the aftermath of the toxic train derailment Animals have been dying. People have reported getting sick. A couple of locals tossing a big rock into a creek. A rainbow sheen of chemicals bubbles to the top.
Wow.
Look at all that.
Look at it.
It's all in the bottom of the creek bed. But they burned all the chemicals off of there, right?
That's what I heard, yeah.
Maybe off the top.
That from a Twitter video posted by Republican Senator J.D. Vance. We think it may be one of ours, so says a balloon hobbyist club out of northern Illinois, talking about the balloon shot down by the U.S. Air Force over the Canadian Yukon. Aviation Week reporting the story. Joe Biden's doctors describing the president as a healthy, vigorous 80-year-old.
After a routine medical exam, President Biden was described as fit to successfully execute duties of the presidency. His blood work was normal, he has a healthy weight, and has no long-term symptoms from the coronavirus. In a health summary, Dr. Kevin O'Connor wrote that the president had a lesion removed from his chest during a routine skin cancer checkup, and that his stiffened gait was the result of spinal arthritis. The conclusions are sure to be scrutinized as the nation's oldest president makes plans for re-election. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Democrat Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania has checked himself into the hospital for treatment of clinical depression, an ongoing battle he has fought for years, according to his office. An Arizona appeals court rejecting Republican Kari Lake's challenge to the outcome of the governor's race. Lake vows to appeal to the Arizona Supreme Court, tweeting, "Buckle up, America." Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 192 points, NASDAQ futures off 115. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month.
SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by The Dental Link. Call Dr. Alan Link today, 314-794-6464 to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville, 314-794-6464.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it's absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin Bob.
Here's an interesting trivia question for you, Estelle. Who has the second largest Mardi Gras celebration in the country?
Well, I would presume New Orleans is number one.
They're number one. Yep, absolutely.
I'm going to guess, since I've heard the hype over the years, that we're number two.
That's correct.
I wonder if that's actually true. It may
No,
be.
Yeah. As far as the parade and the celebration, number of people, absolutely. St. Louis is the second largest Mardi Gras celebration in the country. I mean, which is amazing because when you compare to the much bigger cities out there, that's a big turnout. That Mardi Gras has just become a huge thing here. And so yesterday, the organizers of kind of the Soulard Mardi Gras Festival and the police and the fire department, they've given a list of do's and don'ts. So this is not me actually making jokes on the radio. They've actually given do's and don'ts. So we're going to start there in just a minute. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Estelle Ponticus. It is 6:06 right now. And here in about 14 minutes or so, right around 6:20, speaking of jokes, Don Lemon from CNN had a really bad day yesterday. But it's honestly just part of this bizarre approach that many in media and on the left, and frankly some on the right, are taking to attacking a Republican candidate, mostly on the left. I'm going to play for you the moment that Don Lemon from CNN decided to open his mouth, insert his foot, and chew vigorously for 53 seconds.
You know, I would think that those who handle programming at CNN would maybe have a meeting with him and say, Mr. Lemon, you could probably dial it back a little bit because our numbers are really struggling, which they are between those guys and MSNBC.
Well, that's like kind of the joke that I like to say is, thank goodness for him that it was on CNN, not someplace where people are going to see it. But his co-host actually walked off the set.
Wow.
Yeah, so 6:20, I'll play that for you. And also, Guy Benson had a really interesting response to all of this as well. So I've got both of those kind of comparing and contrasting that we'll do about 6:20 or so. But I had to watch it a couple times. Like, wait a minute, I know Don Lemon is dumb. But is he that dumb? Did he really say what it just? Yep, he really did.
Boy.
Wow. Amazing. All right. So the official do's and don'ts list for the Soulard Mardi Gras was announced yesterday morning because, of course, that's coming up this weekend. I actually have never been down to that. To the Soulard Mardi Gras celebration. Some of my friends rent, kind of an Airbnb there in that area, and they, kind of have an all-day party, and I've just never made it down there.
Ironically, we have friends who live in Soulard, who go to local hotels because they want to get out of the neighborhood.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because they can't handle what all the overflow that happens around their house. So it's funny, you've got folks that go there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to visit my mom this weekend, so I'm going to be out of town. I'm just, of course, the great big, huge cram everybody into one. That's just not my thing. Mm-hmm. One of these days, I probably should just go out there and hang out with the guys and just kind of, do it. But all the years that I've, been in and around St. Louis, I've never actually gone to that. I've just kind of watched it from a distance. But they've listed the do's and don'ts. And the number one thing that the police and the fire and the Mardi Gras Soulard organizers are asking people.
Go ahead. I'm thinking it might be what you're going to say. Go ahead.
Don't pee in the street.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And on the sides of houses.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is a thing?
It's a constant problem every year. And as someone who lived in South City for 52 years with friends who live in Soulard, yeah. It's a serious problem, sad to say.
Wow, that is pathetic.
And I can recall the times that I happened to be at Mardi Gras, which was a few times with my previous employer, radio station, when we had floats in the parade, and for the dog parade, which is fun.
Yeah.
You would see that off and on in backyards in Soulard. And come on, people, in the middle of the day, much less at night, come on.
I thought that was like a Los Angeles thing.
Yeah.
A few years back, I went to L.A. for a week. I was doing some media stuff out there, And we fly in, and it was me and actually Zach from the Show Me Institute, who has my old job over there now. And we went in, and we flew in, and we got into Uber or Lyft or whatever, and they're taking us to the hotel where our conference was at. And we pull off the highway, get ready to turn onto Los Angeles Boulevard where our hotel was. And I look over, and there's just some dude that just dropped trowel, was peeing all over the sidewalk right there. And I thought, I can't believe that I'm actually looking at this. The stories about Los Angeles are true. Look at, and then I come here and I see that St. Louis is saying, "Hey, everybody, please don't pee on the street."
Oh man,
really? Be better. Do better. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. The puppies from the parade might step in it. Don't do that. Oh,
okay, go to number 2.
They talked about the parade route, which is a little bit different this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Instead of, it's going to start on Broadway and Choteau and go to Lynch Street. So, which is a little different route than they normally do. So be aware of that. But they also don't drive into Soulard. I mean, don't try to park there. Don't drive in there. So take your Uber, take your Lyft, take a taxi, bicycle, drop in with a parachute, whatever it takes. But don't try to drive into Soulard.
A lot of the streets are blocked off.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get in.
Yeah.
And then what happens is people are trying to park somewhere and they end up blocking somebody's driveway, or they end up pulling into some apartment or condos area or some school or church, and then they get the car towed and everybody's mad. So just, if you're going to go down there and do it, the local entrepreneurs in Uber and Lyft in those areas, just do that. That's the much, much, much better way to do it.
And you know what? There's local establishments that have bus service.
Yeah, a lot of
they
shuttle
have
service.
Trams and stuff like that going in there.
Yeah. And there's a chance that somebody might have some alcohol at this.
No, I don't think so.
I've just heard a rumor. So the Uber and Lyft thing is even more valuable with that.
Yep.
And then when the party ends, end your party there. They're saying, listen, you're having a great time. That's fine. Outdoor liquor sales on Saturday are going to end at 7 p.m. Pretty early for the partier. Liquor sales inside bars will go on till 11:30 p.m. So that's even a little sooner than a lot of the bars are going to close, Carson's and Great Grizzly Bear and all those down there. So they're going to be shut down at 11:30. What they're saying is go home. You don't, it's one of those things like you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here kind of things. But go home, go somewhere. Don't sit there and try to party in Soulard Street. They're going to run you out. So have a good time while you're there.
Plus they have to do cleanup.
Yes.
Friday night, Saturday night.
Yes. And we in St. Louis are not always great about leaving a clean area after a party.
No.
I remember after the Blues won the Stanley Cup, I was down at the Arch. I was downtown at the celebration.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. We trashed downtown. Don't do that. Don't do that to Soulard. There's kind of cool stuff there. Don't do that. Tim McCarver.
Oh man!
You sent me that text. And I'm like, no.
I was shocked, and even for me as a Cubs fan, I loved Tim.
Yeah,
and enjoyed watching him as a player. Loved him as a broadcaster. And I know some folks didn't like him for some reason because they felt as though he was too inside baseball when he would do color commentary. Well, he's a catcher.
Yeah.
You know this.
I know. I'm a catcher.
Catchers love to explain the game from their perspective, and Tim was so good at it, and I loved listening to him, and that was sad to see.
In my home office, where I've got my home studio, I broadcast out of not this show, but I broadcast other shows out of there sometimes. My whole theme in there is like vintage baseball, and one of the pictures that I have on my wall is Bob Gibson pitching to Tim McCarver.
Oh, nice.
I had a chance to meet Bob Gibson a few times. Never got a chance to meet Tim McCarver. But you're right. I'm a baseball guy. I think he's the perfect fit for St. Louis because we're a thinking baseball town. And being a catcher, I loved his insight. I love the way he was pointing, everything out. And also, people forget, he actually at one point won the Frick Award for baseball, which is for those who go out of their way to contribute to their communities and philanthropic and charitable work. So this wasn't just a baseball guy. This was a community, St. Louis guy who, just was a great asset to St. Louis.
And folks may not realize that he also played with a couple other teams. He had a 21-year career in Major League Baseball, which is great. That's a long career.
Oh, my goodness.
And he was, along with the Cardinals, with the Expos, the Red Sox, and the Phillies.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. 21 years is something that you just rarely see. And to go 21 years, obviously a St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Famer, but broadcast baseball Hall of Famer as well. I mean, if you are in any major league sport, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, whatever, if you're up for more than 3 or 4 years, you've got a lot to be proud of. 21 years, and he was the go-to catcher for maybe the greatest pitcher of all time, Bob Gibson.
Those years in the 60s, he was the go-to catcher. I wonder when the Cardinals called him up, how old he was, if he was 18, 19, 20 years old.
He had to be.
He must have been.
Because catchers can't stay in the league beyond a certain age. It's just too hard on your body. But
and you got that classic comment from Gibson when Tim came to the mound. He goes, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, he said, "Go back behind the plate. The only thing you know about pitching is you can't hit it."
Exactly.
Is what Gibson yelled at him once. and McCarver actually once was saying, Bob Gibson's the luckiest pitcher in baseball. He's always pitching when the other team can't score any runs.
That's right.
Yeah, so what a great insight to the game. So Godspeed to Tim McCarver. What an asset to the game and to St. Louis. All right, just ahead here, Don Lemon on CNN maybe has one of the most ridiculous takes on Nikki Haley's campaign for president. And then let's do kind of an assessment of the reaction, mostly the left, but frankly, some on the right have had to Nikki Haley. And to some degree, it's like, you know what? Nikki Haley's getting a huge amount of attention for a very long shot campaign for president. But Don Lemon is the reason you want to be checking us out here at 620 on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm telling you, it is a spectacular train wreck.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. There's no question that language evolves, and what once was considered appropriate can change. There's also no question that in the era of political correctness, which has now given way to uber wokeness, there have been overcorrections. Instances where a microaggression got someone fired or an honest mistake got someone canceled. It's funny, though, how those overcorrections rarely, if ever, seem to snare those on the left. Which brings me to our current president. Joe Biden is notorious for his casual racism. Whether it's an assumption regarding the accents of 7-Eleven employees, the assertion that the Latino community is diverse in contrast to the black community, or the seeming astonishment that a black man could be clean and articulate, Biden blithely ambles his way through micro and sometimes macro aggressions, while comfortably wrapping himself in the soft bigotry of low expectations. Worse, he does so while maliciously maligning his political opposition, insisting they're motivated by racial animus and intent on putting y'all back in chains. In the latest installment of President Inappropriate, Joe thought it just hunky-dory to refer to Maryland's first black governor, Wes Moore, as boy, while remarking on his athletic physique rather than his myriad accomplishments. But, as always, I'm sure old Joe will be handed a pass by the legacy media.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, Bill O'Reilly here, and you can hear my no-spin commentary right here at 6:45 this evening. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
America's talking to Fox News.
Americans continue to dig deeper into their pockets and in some cases go without as prices on staples like meat, eggs, and fuel continue to rise.
Prices of eggs have gone up significantly.
Absolutely outrageous, especially when they used to be $1 a dozen.
We try to do our best, watch, and just try to ride through this. Hope it doesn't last too long. I try not to go out every day, just make a list and do the things that I need to do on that day. Save gas.
It's horrendous.
We actually purchased more chickens for more eggs. We cut back on the amount we purchase.
It's hard to manage.
It's getting out of hand.
We don't eat a lot of beef, and we don't grow it a lot either. We eat mostly at home.
All of our prices for all our materials have gone up from 22 to 26%, but that's not an increase we could pass on to our consumers. It would just not work.
You're watching what we're buying a little more carefully, no extravagant anything, and a little less travel. Yeah, it's tough.
America's talking to Fox News.
But the White House assures us the Biden economic plan is working just fine.
That's what we hear every month. Oh, don't worry. Yeah, we're taking care of the inflation issue. And you know the numbers, everybody I think knows this, the numbers that come out do not include those volatile areas of energy and food prices.
Yeah, and those are going up too. For Missourians, by the way, your air conditioning bill, your electric bill in the summer is probably going to go up because Ameren wants an increase. They're asking Public Service Commission. Well, their costs are going up, so
yikes.
That's going to be an extra cost there. All right, It's 6:22. I'm Mike Ferguson with Stel Ponticus. A little bit later on today, I'm just telling you this for those of you who are watching us on Rumble or on Facebook. By the way, the Rumble part of News Talk STL family, this is great. This is, we're waving at you whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Man, our Rumble activity just taken off like crazy. So I think a lot of people are just putting us on their smart TV and, watching us there, which really love doing that. But today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day.
Oh.
So later on, we'll have some tips and stuff on that. But on the Rumble chat box, I just asked the question, what are your suggestions for participating? What are those things you can do just to go out of your way to just do something nice and catch somebody off guard with that? So a little bit later on, I've got a list of some of the most common ones, but I want to know what other people think as well. All right, Don Lemon from CNN. It's going to be hard to actually say his name right. Don Lemon from CNN. He is really nice to those of us in conservative talk radio because he gives us gold to work with. They're talking about Nikki Haley's campaign for president, and this is what he has to. Now, can you imagine what you're about to hear? Can you imagine if he were a Fox News or a Newsmax or a News Talk STL host and says this about a female candidate?
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
We need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime according to
Google
or whatever it is.
Wow. He just dug himself in a hole, and it just kept getting deeper.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, now keep in mind that, we keep politicians in office well into the adult diaper era.
Their 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Nikki Haley is, I don't know, she's 50 something, maybe around 60, I don't know. But to say that, well, women are in their primes and their 20s and 30s and maybe 40, so she shouldn't. Oh, are you out of your mind? I mean, imagine if Jesse Waters said that, or Tucker Carlson said that.
Greg Gutfeld.
Can you imagine? And we would be critiquing him too, going like, "Hey guys, that's not accurate." I mean, Republican, Democrat alike, there are people who get fired up in supporting, politicians who are guys who are in their 70s and 80s. I mean, so really, but this has been a bizarre reaction to Nikki Haley. I mean, it was somebody with her high profile. I figured, there's a reaction. She announces it'll be in the news for a day or two, and it'll just kind of fizzle out. It's staying in the news because of the reaction people have had. There's, a bunch of people on the left have thrown a fit about her using the name Nikki when, she's from a family with Indian descent from India. And they're going off on that, which is just bizarre to me.
All this stuff these are items I've never thought of. Right. Never crossed my mind. No. The age thing? No. The name? No, never crossed my mind. And my second thought is, boy, if you were a ball player and you know what your age limits are, if you're a baseball player, it's like 27 to 32. Those are your prime years. Well, McCarver went way past that.
Yeah.
And golly, a whole bunch of other players who played into their early 40s, at least a few of them. And for football, you've got that small window of maybe 22 to 27, and that's it. For politicians, there's no back end.
No.
My goodness.
That we can debate whether there should be,
yes.
but there isn't one. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sensing that you're skeptical about Nikki Haley as a candidate.
As a candidate?
Yeah, as a candidate.
I like her a lot, though.
Right.
I've always liked her, but as a presidential candidate, I need to see more from her, but I'm willing to give her plenty of time to get the issues out there, and I'm fine with saying, okay, I really like her now. I'm not at that point yet, but I'm open to it.
But it's not because of her race,
no,
or her. I mean, come on,
or her age. Yeah. No.
So Guy Benson was on Fox Business Channel, and he had this sort of assessment of this reaction to Nikki Haley, and I thought he actually had some really good points.
Well, I think Republicans and conservatives are used to vitriol. I think Republicans and conservatives who aren't supposed to be Republicans or conservatives based on left-wing identity orthodoxy have a special form of vitriol reserved for them. Talk to any of them, frankly, talk to any of us about that, because it gets extra nasty. Nikki is on her birth certificate, okay? She goes by her middle name. This is not a scandal. This is what people do. Even if it were a nickname, even if it wasn't one of her given names, who cares? Assimilation is fine. Getting along with people and trying to fit in, that's what human beings generally do. I think Nikki Haley should be judged on her record in a couple very important positions, how she performs out there on the stump as a candidate. The notion that she's exactly Donald Trump is obviously ludicrous. I think there are some fair questions about some of her flip-flopping positions about the former president. Let her stand on her own feet in her two high heels and make the case for herself. Some of this stuff is low, but unexpected.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
I agree.
Because Guy Benson gets flack for being a conservative, being a Republican, because he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's an excellent point that he made right there. They're not on the left going after necessarily her political or policy positions, where they disagree wildly with her like they do with any other Republican. And I just find it interesting that they're going after the race. But unfortunately, like I said yesterday, or I think we talked about this privately, some on the right have done that too. Ann Coulter went on an absolutely disgusting attack on Nikki Haley. Just a racist, bigoted, gross, disgusting, remind us why Ann Coulter is no longer relevant sort of thing. So
I forgot all about her.
Yeah. Now we know why.
Yeah.
I mean, and so there's been a little bit of that, but mostly it's been on the left. And I think that Paul put it really well yesterday when he was in the studio with us, Paul Cartman, and he said, yeah, because all the box that she checks, the left feels that they own.
Mm-hmm.
Female, successful, minority,
mm-hmm.
Daughter of immigrants, all of these aspects, and some of the accusations, against her are just nonsensical that have come out, as far as well, she was inspired to run for office by Hillary Clinton. Well, she was never liberal. she just decided that there needed to be more people running for office, and if Hillary Clinton can do it, she can do it. So that sort of thing is just, weird.
And dare I say, she is about 1,000% more qualified than a certain Barack Obama was when he first ran. And I think back to that 2004 speech that he made before the Democratic National Convention. Great speech. But my thought as a Chicago kid was, this guy doesn't have qualifications yet to be running. He's a community organizer. That's it. And now you're going to say that he's a presidential candidate? And Nikki's got qualifications 1,000 times better than Barack had back then.
The funny part is I've got both of Barack Obama's autobiography books, and I read them years ago, and I'm thinking, oh, man, this guy admits this to himself. He's just trying to tank his own career, and we elected the guy who admitted to being a Marxist.
Twice elected him. Yeah,
admitted to organizing Marxist rallies.
Yes.
Literally, his words, not mine, his words, but we elected him. So, Nikki Haley, there's a lot to debate and discuss and listen to and question, as with any candidate, on your policy positions. But if what you're angry is that she's a descendant of people from India and she's a woman, that's all you've got, well, then you don't have anything.
That'd be like looking at me and saying, hey, he's a Greek kid. He doesn't qualify. Well, no, sorry, I would. Except I'm not a political person.
Oh, geez. All right, 314-912-1019. Let's get your thoughts on that. We do have more information now about this monstrosity that's happening out at the St. Louis Children's Hospital and Washington University, this clinic that's grooming and targeting and mutilating children. It turns out that going back at least a couple of years, there's now documentation that one of their doctors was communicating with a Parkway School District teacher, encouraging that teacher to push a kid into being so-called trans. This is just grotesque, but I'm going to give you the update right around 6:35 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, analysis, opinion.
It's all about a paranoia of not allowing freedom anymore. All these prices are going up. My fuel price is double. They're willing to risk it for the money.
101.9 and 94.1.
More updates and information.
News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Would you agree that there is a point in history that every city must face? The city of St. Louis has been under a one-party rule for over 70 years. That can begin to change on March 7th and April 4th. Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party's City of St. Louis. I want you to go to stlvoters.com now and meet our two candidates who will change history in our great city. Thank you for taking the time to go to stlvoters.com, where good decisions are made.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, Check us out at repairclinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
Hunter's laptop.
Censored by Twitter. News, analysis, opinion.
President Biden has to stop lying.
1019 and 94.1.
That's called politics.
News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, we've got a new news report about just the monstrous actions happening at the so-called pediatric transgender clinic. Just those words going together, coming out of my mouth, is just stomach turning. At St. Louis Children's Hospital in Wash U. Okay, so this news report shows that they may have been targeting elementary school kids for a while now.
Not high school, but elementary.
Yeah, elementary school. All right, just ahead here. Now, we may know what at least one of those objects that was shot down last weekend was. I'm going to tell you what that was all about around 6:50. This is actually not a joke. We actually have information about what one of them could be, and there's an Illinois connection to it.
Oh,
yeah,
really? Okay.
Yep. Okay, I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:36 right now. Stel Ponticus is here as well. So the Daily Mail in England, I don't know how they get some of these stories that U.S. media just doesn't get or they don't want to get.
A lot of them, yes.
A lot of them.
You're right.
And they've got the screenshots of emails between one of these doctors at the so-called transgender clinic at St. Louis Children's Hospital and a teacher in the Parkway School District. Now, they blocked out what teacher it is. And so what's happened here is, as we know, there's a big investigation that's going, and we're going to hear from Missouri's Attorney General in just a couple of minutes. But the Daily Mail now got hold of those emails between that elementary school teacher in Parkway, which happened in October of 2021, when a group of fifth graders, and these are girls, which would be 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that in fifth grade, all of a sudden said, you know what, we're transgender. Now, we've talked about social contagions before, and this is what it looks like. So this teacher contacted the doctor and said, I wondered if I can ask you a quick question about a situation we're experiencing at one of our elementary schools. The short story, and this is from the teacher, the short story is that one of the students in the fifth grade class is coming out as trans. It says here she, but I think this is probably I don't know if this is a boy or girl, but it says she has told several of her friends, and now several of them are also saying they are trans. We do not want to discourage them if this is the case, but we're also suspecting there could be other reasons they are doing this than that this is actually the case. Is this common? Are there resources for handling this type of situation? Again, we do not want to discourage kids if this is actually the case, but we also do not want to diminish the actual experience of trans folks. I hope this makes sense. And they asked for resources. This teacher asked for resources. First of all, if you're in the Parkway School District, understand that you've got a school district now, at least some people in there, who are saying, well, we don't want to discourage kids from doing this, which is insane and abuse.
That's the part that jumps out at me. How can they say that?
It's abuse. They're saying, well, we certainly don't want to avoid abusing these children with children with trans thing.
So we won't come out and say anything against the process. If that's what you want to do, if the peer group pressure is ruling the situation for you, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, which is the definition of social contagion. And so the response, which the name of the person is unfortunately blacked out because I would name the names like you would not believe. And the response is, and I'm just reading it, I'm glad you reached out and I'm happy to provide some guidance. I may get a little long-winded, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Depending on who you ask, this is common, but also in varied ways. There are schools of thought that have, he or she uses quotes around documented this as an issue of significance in that a student coming out as transgender becomes a contagion. This language isn't affirming, and the few studies on the phenomenon are, in my personal and professional opinion, invalid. Okay, this is disgusting. But anyway, this person goes on to say, I believe there is a middle ground where we allow for some nuance for younger folks and some adults too. It's easy to latch on to a new concept or idea and make it yours. This happens in some areas as adults, fad diets, workout types, multi-level marketing plans, product loyalty, etc. So it's not abnormal for a young person either. I've seen this happen with mental health diagnoses as well. However, it may still be a valid experience for some. It may be a genuine exploration of gender. Goes on to say, in general, I'd recommend as much support and discussion as possible around their gender exploration. She goes on to say you need to be affirming, or he needs, or whoever it was that was responding to this, from Washington University. There's another comment from a Dr. Sarah Garwood, who says the best we can do is affirm, validate, and allow for exploration. So, in other words, you've got an opportunity with a kid who's questioning, acknowledging that there are social contagions and these things happen, but still affirm this one. So if a kid comes in and says, you know what, let's use one of these examples. I'm ADHD. I really think I can make $1 million with this multi-level marketing scheme. You don't affirm that, but if they say, I want to be the opposite of what I am, affirm that.
The linguistic and vocabulary wars that are being waged from the left are hard to fathom, and we continue to see this every single day. And this example, to have it here locally, makes it even more irritating to see it going on here. And like you said, to have the Daily Mail be the one to bring the story out coming from England. Where's our local journalism, I say in quotes, investigating the issue?
Yeah, there's another email that they've got a screenshot of that came from somebody at, it's a Washington University email address, and they've got the name blocked out, but it's somebody affiliated with the clinic. And they were replying back to the teacher saying, I'm glad this was helpful. And they said, I spoke to Dr. Garwood, who I just mentioned a second ago. It says, I spoke to Dr. Sarah Garwood. I spoke to Dr. Garwood, our adolescent medicine specialist, and she wanted me to add just one thing that I will expand on a little further. So this is from Dr. Sarah Garwood at this so-called transgender clinic. In general, kids explore parts of their identities in different ways: dress, hair, likes, interests, sexuality, and gender. That's not a general statement. That's ridiculous. But anyway, the email goes on to say, for some, this is a temporary state. For some, it is a longer path to something else. That's okay. The best we can do is affirm, validate, and allow for the exploration. If in a few weeks or months the student wants to go by their legal names and pronouns that match their sex assigned at birth, no harm was really done in affirming them before. I can't use the words that I'm thinking right now to respond to this. This is the kind of mindset, the kind of grooming and abusive mindset that is happening at Washington University and St. Louis Children's Hospital, and apparently in at least parts of the Parkway School District. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey was on the afternoon show right here. He was in studio with Tim Jones and Susie Moore, and he was asked about what are we going to do about this, and here's what he had to say.
Well, look, the whistleblower came forward with some really significant and scary allegations, and if even half of that is true, we've got a serious problem on our hands, and we're going to use every legal remedy available to us in state law to hold people accountable and to stand up and protect kids. And you've seen already that we've marshaled state resources from professional registration, from the Division of Social Services Medicaid Fraud Compliance Unit. We're bringing, it's an all hands on deck approach here to maximize our ability to go in, figure out what happened, verify what happened, and protect kids and put an end. Look, the allegation in the affidavit is that these people weren't practicing medicine. This was child abuse. And so if any elements of that are true, we've got to put a stop to it, and we're going to use the legal apparatus of the state to do that.
I think that's a great answer.
I'm totally behind him 100%. This guy's had to hit the ground running here the first couple of weeks of being appointed to the position. he's, in my opinion, done a good job so far.
Yeah, so far. I haven't met him yet, but I like what I've seen. And the fact that the Attorney General of this state says this is child abuse, calling it what it is. The state legislature is working on a bill like South Dakota's that would ban any of this for anybody under the age of 18, which is a common sense measure. It should be done. I still believe that you can make a case, and there should be a legal case made, that this is child exploitation and child abuse. And whether it is Dr. Sarah Garwood or these others that were sending these communications or doing the injections or doing whatever surgeries, they should be in handcuffs. There should be a perp walk. There should be a trial. There should be a conviction. There should be a very, very long sentence in prison for these predators, these monsters. And yes, I am talking about the St. Louis Children's Hospital Clinic, and I'm talking about people involved with this at Washington University. You agree? You disagree? Let's talk about it.
Yep. And I'm going to toss in Vanderbilt in Nashville.
Yep.
The hospital in Boston. Many other facilities around the country, but most of all to have it here in our backyard.
There's about 100 of them.
Wow.
Around the country. About 100 of them out there. There needs to be zero. 314-912-1019. Got time to get your thoughts in on this. Also, the president acknowledges that those 3 things shot down last weekend, probably not spy things. It's kind of a fancy way of saying, oops. But we do know what one of them might be, and there's an Illinois connection. I'll tell you about it in about 4 minutes on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Well, we all made it to Friday. We'll have Zach Smith, our legal eagle, at 4:25. At 5:25, The Economy with Dr. Aaron Hedlund.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Just like golf, investing your money can be tricky. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft here. When market downturns happen, investors are tempted with products that promise to guard against inflationary sand traps. From coins to cryptocurrency and everything in between, always research the investment before you write the check. Visit MissouriProtectsInvestors.com for more information. That's MissouriProtectsInvestors.com.
Paid for by Investor Education and Protection Fund.
It's Proctor spelled like doctor for custom window fabrics and shutters. Upgrade or start from scratch. Either way, Michael is the St. Louis expert. Check him out at ProctorDrapery.com and then call Proctor spelled like doctor for shutters, shades, and draperies.
Proctor Drapery, the best in town. No finer window fashion can be found. Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Columbo and Katie.
How are we living in a world right now that every single thing feels like it's staged? Every single conversation, every single debate.
Because a lot of it is.
Every single argument.
It's the Instagramming of America. If you know how Instagram works, it's basically, this is the nice life simulator of reality where you're supposed to take the best, very best pictures of your very best hair day.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
We know what's going on.
Have our great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke. News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Well, we might know what one of the flying objects the U.S. military shot down last weekend was. It was not another Chinese spy balloon.
So it's now an identified flying object?
Yes. Well, it's an identified fallen object.
Okay.
So still a UFO. It's IFO. It's an identified falling object in lots of pieces. ILOP. So I'm going to tell you what President Biden's order to shoot down protected us from. We'll get to that in just a second here. All right, News Talk STL's newest host. Yep, we've got a new local talk show, and it's Mark McCloskey on Fire. Starts this weekend. Mark McCloskey going to be with us at 7:05. This is going to be fun still. It's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, just real quick before I get to this identified flying object in pieces, I just got a note from Bob Onder, and he says it's important to remember that if you leave these poor kids alone, 75 to 95% will basically stay with who they are, with their biological sex. He says, but watchful waiting is now considered by these activists to be unacceptable conversion therapy. He's right about that. They regard affirmation, including hormones and such, as the only acceptable therapy. It is child abuse, and Bob is 100% correct.
Yes, indeed.
On that. All right. The UFO is now an IFO or IFP. Okay, so President Biden speaking about those flying objects that were recently shot down by the military. Fox News' David Spunt reports.
The highlight of the president's announcement, 3 objects shot down since Friday, not tied to any enemy nations, but private companies, bringing up the possibility the administration may have overreacted after that Chinese spy balloon in early February. White House officials all the way up to the president insist there will be changes in the works in the way things are handled in the future relating to these unidentified flying objects, whatever you want to call them. He said that he'll share with Congress the policy parameters when they're done, but that will remain classified. So we don't give a, quote, roadmap to our enemies to try to evade our defenses going forward.
Okay, now that last part I'm actually going to give credit to. You don't want to give out the roadmap for any national security. But by the way, the White House is acknowledging they're having trouble gathering the pieces of that Chinese spy balloon and the payload that it carried that they shot down over the ocean that collapsed there because it's an ocean and the weather, and they're having trouble getting all the pieces to it. Had they dropped it over some unpopulated area in Idaho or Montana or Kansas or any place like that, they would have that. But they've just fouled this up at just about every opportunity. Still.
There's miles and miles of open land on that frontier out there, and the basic lie that they use to say, well, we couldn't bring it down because it may hit somebody's house, or you may hit some cows out in the middle of a field. I'm calling BS on that because they could have easily taken care of it then, and like you said, they would have been able to get the pieces from it.
Yeah, and they may have actually run across Sasquatch in the meantime.
Very possible.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the balloons that the military shot down may have actually belonged to an Illinois organization. But remember, when the president was asked about this, here's actually what he said. These are his words, and then it just makes this other thing that much more eye-rolling.
We don't yet know exactly what these 3 objects were, but nothing right now suggests they were related to China's spy balloon program or that they were surveillance vehicles from any other country. The intelligence community's current assessment is that these 3 objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation or research institutions studying weather or conducting other scientific research.
Or just hobbyists.
How come none of them have come out and said, hey, one of those happened to be mine?
Well, one of them, it looks like, did.
Okay.
The Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade.
Okay.
Okay, so what they do is they are a group of hobbyists that launch something that's called Mylar balloons just to track them as they float around the country. So if you think of that movie Up, that cartoon, where the guy puts all the balloons together and all this kind of stuff, that's where I guess they got the name for the movie because he gave a kid a bottle cap and called it a badge or something like that. And so they just happened to lose one of their balloons near Alaska at the exact time that the U.S. shot down something. They shot down their balloon that they just put up in the air and track around the country, just around the world, just for fun, which, by the way, is perfectly legal. There's nothing illegal about that. So and again, this is like they're still trying to confirm it, but their balloon went down the same time that our Sidewinder went into something in the exact same spot. So the group launches the small balloons with trackers on them just so they can see where they go. Basically, it's the aerial version of throwing a bottle with a note into the ocean kind of thing. They usually cost between $12 and $180. Sidewinder missiles, on the other hand, cost a little bit more than that.
Just a tad.
Yeah. Dozens are put up, at any given time, and they just kind of circle the Earth. They weigh less than 6 pounds, so they're allowed by the FAA. The Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade says they lost contact with their balloon on February 10th near Alaska. That's also when the military used a Sidewinder missile to shoot down a balloon in the exact same area. I guess congratulations to the pilot on his or her marksmanship.
As opposed to the ones who tried to do it over Lake Huron and missed.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So the Balloon Brigade's balloon was around 39,000 feet. So the government hasn't confirmed it, but the president ordered a Sidewinder shooting of something that protected us from the Bottle Cap Brigade of Northern Illinois.
Thank goodness they're watching out for us. I can't fathom how much incompetence we've got in this administration, in this government, and it starts at the top and goes down. And to have this situation continue for days on end is more than embarrassing. China and the other nations must be looking at us and just laughing, going, these guys have no clue what they're doing.
I was about to say the exact same thing. When you were talking about how they let this go on, but, we've shot down things that were privately owned and legal, apparently, and the White House isn't talking about it. China has got to be laughing. They've got to be looking around and saying, how did we get so lucky that this is our opponent now?
Yeah.
I mean, and you wonder, if you're the pilot in that jet fighter and he locks on or she locks on and sees this, I wonder if they think, really, this is what you want me to shoot at? Well, I've got the order. Yep, shoot it down. I mean, I'm not going to knock the pilot. Clearly good operator of that jet, but you may have knocked down the Bottle Cap Brigade balloon. Way to go.
And, from my perspective, I this is just my own opinion. We've got an administration that's compromised and that is beholden to China. We've got connections there that we're still finding out about, and a lot of it is still hidden. But as this stuff slowly hits the news cycle, we seem to be finding out more and more about how beholden this administration is to China and other countries. Okay, I'll toss Ukraine in there. I mean, we've got the situation over there also, and an administration that's laundering money, in my opinion, through that country.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with that.
Okay,
but they're definitely incompetent in a lot of areas on this. And with China, the compromise and the leverage that China just has is just unbelievable on this. All right, just ahead, who's got some very, very sharp opinions on all sorts of stuff is Mark McCloskey. We met him during his campaign for U.S. Senate, of course, following his standoff with the mob of protesters in St. Louis. He's now the newest member of the News Talk STL family. He's got a new show starts this weekend, Mark McCloskey on Fire, and he is going to be with us right here at 7:05 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL to preview the debut of his new program.
When it's important to you, stay informed. It's on News Talk STL.
Dozens and dozens of whistleblowers, FBI agents coming to us.
They think that we're too stupid to think for ourselves. Hunter's laptop.
Censored by Twitter.
A lot of Republicans, their dream is to cut Social Security, Medicare.
News, analysis, and opinion.
President Biden
has to stop lying.
This is Chinese surveillance balloon program.
We're just getting started.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
When is a financial help show not just a financial help show? When it's Pocket Watching with JT, the caller-driven financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jason Thornton is a certified financial planner licensed in both tax and investments. You get JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Plus, you get JT's take on all the latest financial news. This is not just another financial show. Pocket Watching with JT now every Friday night at 8 p.m. on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with sign agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. too. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Did the U.S. Air Force deploy a $400,000 missile to shoot down a $13 balloon? Well, it could be. A hobbyist balloon club out of northern Illinois telling Aviation Week that the orb shot from the sky over the Canadian Yukon may have belonged to the club. President Biden admits we don't yet know exactly what those 3 downed aerial objects were, but they appear to be harmless.
The intelligence community's current assessment is that these 3 objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation, or research institutions studying weather or conducting other scientific research.
A routine medical check giving President Biden a clean bill of health, that according to Mr. Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor. Democrat Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania has checked himself into the hospital for treatment of clinical depression.
So this is the latest health setback for Senator Fetterman. Last May, he suffered a stroke while he was on the campaign trail running for in the primary. The stroke came a few days before the primary, and he's continued to suffer effects from the stroke, notably auditory processing disorder, where he has trouble processing words into meaning so that he can quickly respond.
That's correspondent Mark Levy, the 53-year-old Fetterman hospitalized at Walter Reed. A special grand jury that investigated then-President Trump's objections to his Georgia election loss is expressing concern over the credibility of some of the witnesses who testified.
The parts that were released today said that the grand jurors believed that some of the witnesses who had come in to speak to them had committed perjury. That's to say they lied under oath.
And that's correspondent Kate Bumbeck. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 137 points, the NASDAQ futures off 92, S&P futures 23 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Do you live in West St. Louis County? Then you can get West News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. West News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. West News Magazine. Anybody who wants it gets it. Anybody who gets it wants it. Subscribe for free today. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe.
Hey, it's Katie. We here at News Talk STL really appreciate the growth in our business during our first 18 months since we signed on the air. We appreciate the great local businesses like Save Money with Doug Voss, Crypto World, and the Natural Institute of Health that have all become part of our family of advertising partners. If your business is interested in becoming part of the News Talk STL family, simply send an email to info@newstalkstl.com. 1019-941 News Talk STL.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
What can we do to drain the swamp?
Live and local.
At some point, do we just let the dumb ones weed themselves out? Our modern society has been keeping dumb people alive for a long time.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Hey, Stel, guess what?
Go for it.
News Talk STL has a new local show.
Good to hear.
And we're going to debut it this weekend. And the new host joining the radio family here is with us right now. We're going to chat with Mark McCloskey in just a moment. Real quick note to everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody for making our Defending America event with Jim Talent and Dakota Wood, the event that News Talk STL and the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise are teaming up to put on. So excited to let you know that this has sold out. So all the tickets have been claimed. We are trying to see if we can work out a way to maybe get a few more seats and tickets in there. But as of right now, the event has actually sold out 3 weeks in advance. So we're still going to talk to Dakota Wood in the next week or two. So if you wanted to go and like, oh, crap, I didn't get my tickets, maybe we can release it. We'll keep you updated on that. But thank you to everybody who's responded to this. I told you tickets were going to go fast, and they did. They have all been claimed. But if something changes, I will keep you updated on that. All right, starting this weekend, Sundays at 5 o'clock, right here on News Talk STL, Mark McCloskey on Fire, newest News Talk STL show, and Mark joins me right now. And so you're off of the U.S. Senate campaign trail, now on the radio airwaves. Mark, welcome to News Talk STL.
Oh, thanks for having me. And, you know, I've always been a little soft-spoken, so hopefully people won't get too bored.
Golly. Oh, man. All right, so you're starting up this weekend. We'll get to a preview of this coming weekend's show, Mark. But what do you want to do with the show? I mean, obviously you're talking about all the, the news and the politics and everything that's happening. But when people listen in, they're going to get your takes on what is it you want to do with this?
Well, my goal since I started this campaign, before I ever ran for Senate, when I started working on the Trump campaign 2.5 years ago, the goal's always been the same thing, to wake everybody up to the crisis this country is in, make everybody aware that we're in a civil war right now, and that our culture, our heritage, our nation, our democracy, our God-given rights, and the very basis of this republic is under constant attack, and each and every one of us needs to stand up against it, resist, and fight back, and that, I start off with a premise that everything the media tells you, everything the government tells you is a fabricated lie for the purposes of distracting us from the real goal, and that is a single world socialist government, and it's happening right before our eyes right now.
Good morning, Mark. This is Stel, and welcome to News Talk STL. It's great having you aboard. I got to ask you real quick, you're not just going to cover local issues on your program, you're going to look at national issues also, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the opening program, start talking about the lies the government has told us over the years. Going back to Pearl Harbor and Roswell and the Kennedy assassination and everything else right up to the present time with China balloons and the disaster in East Palestine, Ohio, which, by the way, I'm going to go visit this weekend.
Oh, you're going to go? You're going to go there personally?
Yeah, it's my wife's hometown. She was born about 10 miles away. The mushroom cloud, the winds go west to east, and she was born and grew up about 10 miles east of where that derailment was. We're going to be up presenting to the Washington County, Pennsylvania Republican Committee on Monday anyway, and we thought it was a great time to get up there and see how bad the disaster is.
Well, we're visiting with Mark McCloskey, host of Mark McCloskey on Fire, the newest addition to News Talk STL. And one of the things that, not just to brag on our station here, but, Mark, you're known for speaking your mind and not pulling any punches. That's why this is a good fit, because we're not one of those that's going to say, okay, well, you can't say that. You can say whatever you want, man.
Well, yeah, if there's one thing that I think may distinguish me from my fellow candidates for the Senate was that I tended to say everything that everybody was thinking and everybody else thought was too apolitical or counter-political to actually say out loud. So I'm hoping that we're given an opportunity to tell the truth to the people of the listening audience and make people think.
Mark, we're, I think, a week and a half out from the incident, the derailment in East Palestine. I'm looking at this and wondering not only what the administration is not doing, but FEMA is not there, correct? I don't think very few government officials have shown up yet.
Nobody. A lawyer friend of mine who's actually the chairman of the Washington County Republican Party up there was in the town hall 2 days ago, and I was texting him at the time. I was watching it live on Fox, and I said, is anybody from the EPA there? No. Anybody from the railroad there? No. Anybody from Mayor Pete's office there? No. But, this is a county of poor Christian Caucasians that voted 71% for Donald Trump, and those are the people that this administration just does not give a poop about.
I saw a video that came out maybe 2 days after the derailment, and it was an individual. It was a fellow who lived in Darlington. I thought maybe it was Ohio, but I think it was Pennsylvania. The video of the skies overhead over his house. And as someone who majored in meteorology for almost 3 years, when I saw those clouds, I knew that those were not rain clouds. Actually, anybody could tell. Those clouds were laden with chemicals from that explosion that they detonated at the site.
Yeah. And, the oldest cliche in the world is what goes up must come down. And if you've got all those partially combusted products up in the air, it's going to fall down, and it's going to rain down on western Pennsylvania, for as far as the wind carries it, and nobody's checking anything. And I liked last night with this lady dropping a stone in the pond or the creek behind her house, and everything's glistening like it's covered with an oily film. And yet the government says, DeWine says, oh, it's safe to drink, don't worry about it. But you might want to drink bottled water anyway.
Yeah, and J.D. Vance was out at the not at the meeting, but he was out in the area and had a press availability. And he said he kind of encouraged the EPA officials and the governor, if they really feel that way, to go ahead and just open a tap and drink it on camera.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll do that, too, because we trust them.
Right. Yeah, Mark McCloskey is the host of Mark McCloskey on Fire that debuts this weekend on Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. All right, Mark, let's just give people kind of a take. I mean, we know where you stand on the Second Amendment, where a lot of the U.S. Senate issues happen. You look at Washington, D.C., Kevin McCarthy takes some lawmakers down to the border to look at it themselves. The White House says that's just a stunt. We're doing a great job on the border. Republicans in Congress are saying, yeah, the Secretary Mayorkas needs to be impeached. We can't even get them to agree on what the facts are, and the White House just simply basically keeps gaslighting us.
Absolutely. And more people die in this country every year from fentanyl than from the entire Vietnam War. And there were marches in the streets and buildings on fire and protests all over the country about the war in Vietnam and the destruction it was causing to American soldiers. And yet there's not a peep from this administration on the fentanyl crisis and the fact that it's coming from Joe's friends in China to us through the border. And it's just that's one of the major themes of what I'm going to talk about. The current passivity of the American people, that they allow all this to happen and they allow it to be politics as usual when our civilization is intentionally being destroyed right in front of us.
So what's going to fire people up then? So what's going to get people to stop being passive?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I'm hoping that at some point people will wake up, but the problem is too many people are kept artificially fat and happy with endless money being printed to support every kind of lifestyle. People sleeping. I like this in O'Hare Airport now. 300 homeless people, as they call them, bums, come in every night and sleep in the terminal and poop on the floor and everything else. And people will take it. There has to be some kind of an ultimate crisis where people say enough is enough. But we're drunk on wealth and drunk on government support, just like any other kind of addiction. And you have to hit rock bottom before people wake up and take action.
Well, what we need to do then is just raise the debt ceiling and print and borrow more money and pay for more stuff. That's how we fix it, right?
That's how you fix it. It's just like education, right? Every year we pump more money into education. The problem isn't that we're teaching socialism instead of education. The problem is that we don't have enough money in the school system. So let's just pump more money in and watch those test scores go up and up and up. No, wait a second. Maybe that's not happening.
Boy, I just saw the stats the other day, and you probably did too, Mark, from Baltimore, where no one is reading or writing. Might have been, maybe it was math.
It was in Chicago, yeah.
No. Baltimore was also in there. But no, you're right about Chicago too, Mike. But at Baltimore, none of the students were coming in with scores anywhere close to what their grade level is supposed to be. And
that's the reason is because testing is white supremacist propaganda. And so we have to do to make sure that everybody can score at grade level is reduce the standards.
Yeah, and not a single kid proficient at their
exactly.
grade level. Not one. I mean, literally zero.
And Chicago is just as bad. St. Louis is bad thanks to everything that the teacher unions are doing. And golly, Mike, you lived in Decatur for a while. I saw some stats from Decatur where 7 out of 100 are at their proper grade level. Yeah. My goodness, the education system is crumbling right in front of our eyes, and it's as though the teachers union is laughing at us. Just give us more money.
Because
and that I think is the really something that I see going on every day. The government, or as I call it, the powers that be, push more and more ridiculous concepts. They're testing the waters to see just how much the American people will take without realizing they're being lied to, or care if they are being lied to because they can always watch the Super Bowl. I was shocked. Super Bowl Sunday, I was coming back from my country place to the city, and I stopped in the gas station out in by Pacific. Sunday afternoon, usually every gas pump's got a car at it. The Quickie Mart's got everybody in it. There was not a single person there. We thought they'd close down. If you could get that many people motivated to do something about our country and not just to watch football, we'd have this problem solved overnight.
All right, Mark McCloskey on Fire happens, debuts Sunday afternoon, 5 o'clock. What's the maybe the highlight topic this weekend?
Everything you hear is lies, and you got to resist it and find a way to fight back.
All right, Mark, good to chat with you. Welcome to News Talk STL, my friend.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be with you.
All right, once again, Saturday afternoons at 5 o'clock. And, of course, you can always catch it on the News Talk STL podcast after the fact because there's probably somebody you're going to think of that will want to hear what Mark has to say and didn't catch it the first time. All right, 314-912-1019. Just ahead, don't think about it. Computers will do that for you. Nothing could go wrong with that. But what happens if the artificial intelligence just goes the way of, the rest of media that wants to do our thinking for us? New report looks at, is there bias in the artificial intelligence that's taking over, which is exactly what Gabe and I were warning about. Talk about that around 7:20 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
Columbo and Katie.
On Friday, we'll get you ready for the weekend with all the latest news and headlines you need to know. Plus, we'll get the weekend forecast from Steve Templeton at 2:45 and wrap up your week with a little Friday fun time.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Ken Kruger. I've gotten to know these guys really well over the last few years. Yes, St. Louis Bath and Renovation. They're the most trusted name in bathroom remodelers in the St. Louis area. In fact, if you need bathroom repairs, complete bathroom remodeling, or handyman services, Call St. Louis Bath and Renovation at 314-477-6476 or email Rob at stlbr.com. That's St. Louis Bath and Renovation.
American culture is at a crossroads. I'm Kira Davis, and in my new book, Drawing Lines, Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas, I challenge conservative Americans to stop retreating from the culture. I help you think critically through the pressing cultural issues of our day and offer practical advice and solutions. It's time for conservatives to make themselves uncomfortable and get engaged. Get inspired, get moving, and get winning. Pick up a copy of my book, Drawing Lines, available on Amazon, at faithfultext.com, or wherever books are sold.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here, excited to tell you about one of our newest clients. I've been a customer of them for years, Professional Irrigation Systems. If you're tired of dragging hoses around your yard to keep your grass alive every summer, now's the time to make your life easier. Residential irrigation installs in one day, custom designed for your property. They will enhance your curb appeal. They've also got landscape lightings, makes the architecture of your home stand out, making all your neighbors envious. Fertilization packages as well for all your lawn care needs and great financing options. ProIrrigation.com, 636-692-4441. ProIrrigation.com.
Fox News commentary.
CNN's Don Lemon makes this remark about Nikki Haley's age, and it didn't go over well. I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
Democrats just want to win the next election, and they're trying to do it with ceaseless money printing. They do not care if the value of your retirement is sacrificed. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. It is critical to protect your retirement right now with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. Text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold.
I'm not a fan of Nikki Haley, and I think she has a snowball's chance in hell of winning the Republican nomination, much less presidency, but it has nothing to do with her age. That's apparently not the case in Don Lemon's view. In a discussion with his female co-anchors, Don Lemon claimed that at 51 years old, Nikki Haley is not in her prime, and he went on to say, according to Google, the prime age for a woman is in her 20s through maybe 40s. Can you imagine if a conservative male anchor said this of Kamala Harris, or any female for that matter? It's blatant sexism and ageism and completely tone deaf. Now, Don Lemon did tweet out a half-baked apology where he recognized that a woman's age doesn't define her personally or professionally, blah, blah, blah. We get it, Don. You put your foot in your mouth and you offended pretty much every woman in America. But don't worry, we won't cancel you, because unlike the perpetually triggered and fragile left, we will get over it. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Don't think about it. Just let the computer do it. I don't mean the task. I mean the thinking.
Okay.
This artificial intelligence thing, maybe I'm just getting to that age where, in Don Lemon's words, I'm past my prime. By the way, Susie sent me a note on Rumble. Said she believes that Nikki Haley is 51, same age as I am. So apparently we're all past our prime.
Wow.
According to Don Lemon. But I've really got a lot of worries about the explosion of artificial intelligence, not in just running stuff, middle of the night here. Computers run our radio station, every TV station. We know that. But when it comes to things that require human thought and logic and processing and discussion, increasingly people are saying, let AI do it.
It's both fascinating and scary.
Very scary. I mean, I'm going to leverage AI in some areas, but I don't want it to replace my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are doing that. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Also, a little bit later on today. Today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm looking for are, what are your ways to just go out of your way and do something nice for some other people, because we could use a little more of that in the country. It is 7:23 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got a special message from somebody. Let's pause for just a second here. Okay, Stel?
Aloha from beautiful Waikiki Beach, Hawaii. I'm about halfway through my vacation, so it's only a matter of a few days before I'm back in the studio discussing the border crisis, the economic crisis, the ecological crisis, and the crisis of UFOs, apparently. I mean, don't worry. I'll be back in studio. We'll talk about all that stuff unless the aliens come and get us. It's okay. It's okay. I tripped.
Gabe Pfeiffer showing off on the beach in Hawaii. But yeah, we'll get him back. I think it's Thursday. I think we'll get him back. Susie Moore going to be in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from redstate.com.
Looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
And hope Gabe's having a great time.
Yes, not being abducted.
Yeah.
Unless it's by Janet as well.
And checking out the green lasers.
Yes, there were some over there.
Oh, my goodness.
He's going to have some stories.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right. Okay, so as artificial intelligence programming becomes more and more advanced. I actually tried to do a little bit of experimentation on ChatGPT yesterday. It was so full of users that it was a waiting list to get on to use it. That's how many people are using artificial intelligence right now. There are worries about unwanted influence, and this is something we talked about a couple weeks ago from the creators of those AI programs. In other words, just bias being built in. Fox Business Network's Lydia Hu has a report on how at least one of these programs appears to be showing some bias when it comes to political and cultural things.
We're learning more about this gentleman named Sam Altman because he is the CEO of the company OpenAI that is behind ChatGPT. This company formed in 2015 when Altman teamed up with Elon Musk and LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman. Now, their goal was to develop artificial intelligence that benefits humanity, but now we have examples of left-leaning political bias, and they are mounting. The chatbot, it won't praise former President Donald Trump. It won't define woman. And when asked to write an essay in support of fossil fuels, the chatbot said, quote, "I'm sorry, but I cannot fulfill this request as it goes against my programming to generate content that promotes the use of fossil fuels."
Do you have the same concerns I do? 314-912-1019. By the way, the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, as Lydia, who was just talking about, has donated over $1 million to Democratic Party candidates and organizations.
I'm not shocked.
No.
I was going to say I'm shocked, but I'm not. No.
Here's the problem, many problems, is that people are looking to AI to do their thinking and writing and communicating for them. And I think a lot of people, whether it is teachers in academia or K through 12, or whether it's people just writing reports for business, I think a lot of media and news, I think we can almost retire the word journalism, but news, they're going to be relying on things like ChatGPT to write their copy, to write their stories. And if you've got a built-in bias, which is what I have been worried about from the very beginning, all you're going to have are reinforced biases in every aspect of our culture that have already been captured. The other problem I have, take away all of the bias, take away the left-leaning stuff or the right-leaning, take away all of this. We already are on a trend of not doing critical thinking in our society. I mean, you compare back and you read the writings of our founding fathers, you read the writings of our forebears in other countries around the world that came in and created the U.S., through England and other places, France and Louisiana, and you read their writings and what they were challenged to learn and challenged to think and challenged to debate, and you look at the published debates that went back and forth between philosophers and politicians and everybody else. We don't do that anymore. I think the last time we had maybe a great ongoing debate in this country, probably for conservatives, goes back to Buckley and Reagan. And probably nothing since then, and that was the 70s.
Yeah.
So 50 years.
Yeah.
We increasingly Google search it. We increasingly, just type it into ChatGPT and just put it out there.
Remember back in the day when journalism actually was journalism? And by the way, Bernard Goldberg, the former journalist, declared a few years ago that journalism is dead.
Yeah.
Think back to, was it 60 Minutes? It had Point Counterpoint with Gene Kirkpatrick, and I can't remember who the other individual usually was, but that was always an interesting part of the program where they would actually pick a subject and duke it out one-on-one on air and have their own discussion. We don't have that anymore.
I used to be a regular guest on a TV show. I mean, I'm not talking about my old TV show, Missouri Viewpoints. I mean, I used to be a panelist on a roundtable news political TV show years ago. And I really enjoyed it because we were given the list of topics. I knew I was the token conservative there, but we had a great time sharpening each other's debates. And I like to think that, I made really good points. There were a couple times I left the set going, ooh, man, I got to sharpen up because I think I got stung on that one by some, reporter for some other thing. And so that's a good thing. And when we continuously rely on the artificial intelligence aspect of it, my worry is that we are going to go even farther down the road of not thinking for ourselves, letting other people tell us what facts and narratives are supposed to be accepted instead of questioning whether what's presented as a fact is actually a fact. Facts don't have feelings. Feelings aren't facts. But when you look at the multiple cases of ChatGPT alone, which looks like a very good tool if you're staying out of the politics and all that kind of stuff, it can really do some work for you. But when you just simply say, type in a command, it'll do it for you, that's good enough without actually thinking about yourself, we're societally going to go farther down a path I don't think we want to go.
By the way, I need to correct myself. It was James Kilpatrick.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Shana Alexander was the lady.
Got it.
And that was during the 70s on 60 Minutes. One other thing, if you want to mention it, because you talked about it a couple of days ago, your wife, Rachel, has encountered some of this issue, and she's troubled by it.
She's a university professor, and just as a test, she went to ChatGPT and typed in her test questions for her collegiate class that she teaches. And I happened to walk in when she was doing this, and her eyes were huge. And she went, these answers are really good. This is a problem. And she said it took like 15, 20 seconds to kick out, she said these are probably A-, B+ answers to this. So now schools, education, academia, they're all now trying to work around this and get ahead of it. She said, we got to teach people how to use it. It's going to be a massive presence in business, but we also have to make sure everybody's got the ethics to use it properly. And we have a lack of ethics.
Boy, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, just ahead here. Some people may think the football season ended last weekend. Football season did not.
No, au contraire.
Yes, it's just starting in St. Louis. Caw-caw, baby. Steven Gonzalez from the Battlehawks joining us just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
St. Louis's place to talk.
The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
We've had all of our sensors watching this for some time.
This week on News Talk STL.
I told them to shoot it down.
News, analysis, opinion.
What is currently happening?
Their dream is to cut Social Security and Medicare. Well, let me say this.
Has to stop lying.
Dozens and dozens of whistleblowers, FBI agents coming to us.
He filed in the House floor an expulsion of George Santos.
101.9 and 94.1.
They think that we're too stupid to think for ourselves.
News Talk STL. And always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
There's only one unforgivable crime in America today, and that's standing up against the left. This is Mark McCloskey, proud to join the News Talk STL team, and I plan on committing that crime every chance I get on the air and every day of our lives. And I encourage all of the listeners and all the people of America to stand up against the left, to reclaim our freedoms, and we're going to do it on this radio station and throughout the country.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
Join me on this quest to preserve our freedoms and make sure this government works for us.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All right, you want to sell your home, but you're afraid because the market's weird, the economy's weird, the interest rates are going up. Stop being afraid and call Rodney and Jen right now. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. Listen, you've got to focus on what is right for your family. This might be the perfect time to sell your home. There's a lot of people looking to buy a home. Interest rates be darned that they need a home. There needs to be more homes. This might be the perfect time to buy your home. Whether it is or whether it isn't, I can guarantee this. You're going to get good, solid, unbiased advice from experts, Rodney and Jen Wallner. Give them a call at 314-912-1019. When it comes to making sure that your family has all of the tools that you need to succeed financially when it comes to real estate, Rodney and Jen are the ones that you want on your side. They have so many pre-approved buyers. Even in this economy, they're guaranteeing that you are going to get an offer, and you can go from there. 314-810-SOLD. These are people who you're going to find out real quick. Not only do they have the resources of Berkshire Hathaway at their disposal, but they are a St. Louis business owner's business, St. Louis firm, and they sell upwards of 15 times more homes than any other agent in town. There's a reason for that, is because they do it right. They get to know you. They get to know your situation. They get to know your goals, and they are passionate about making sure you get the best dollar for dollar deal possible. 314-810-SOLD. Talk to Rodney and Jen today. 314-810-SOLD.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dial off, you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight at 7 o'clock. But right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Some people think the football season's over because there was a football game last weekend in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
By the way, did we get a final score on that yet? Because it was in Arizona, so I figured it's going to take a month or two to get the final score.
Just give them a few weeks. They're still figuring it out out there. It'll be a little bit. It was a close one, so give them time. These things take time.
It was a great game.
That's what I heard.
I was just joking.
That's what I heard. I don't know. All right, but St. Louis Battlehawks take the field this weekend. The 2023 XFL season begins, and any moment here we're going to connect with St. Louis Battlehawks. Steven Gonzalez, he's getting ready to take on the San Antonio Brahmas, and we're going to get a preview of that just ahead. Also, 7:50, this is going to be kind of fun here because I've got some ideas myself. There's some things that I kind of enjoy doing. Today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day. Really, so got a list of a few things that maybe you could do, just kind of go out of your way to surprise somebody with something extra, nice, whether you know them or whether you don't know them. But I got a few ideas myself as well. So if you've got some thoughts on that, you can send them to me in the Rumble chat box. I am keeping my eye on that right now. You can also send it to us on the Facebook comments, or here in a little bit, starting around 7:50. You can call me at 314-912-1019. When it comes to the Battlehawks, we've had, of course, we've had them on, a number of times. Now it's game time, and this is going to be a blast because the season starts on Sunday. The XFL very smartly waited till the end of the Super Bowl and the NFL season in order to make sure that there are as many people ready to be a part of this as possible. Now, one of the challenges with the XFL, or one of the challenges for the Battlehawks in particular, is they've got their first 3 games on the road. So it's going to be almost a month before they are back at the Dome. But I was actually looking for tickets for some of the games, and the first game, they've got some tickets available, but not very many. That bottom part of the Dome, I mean, that bottom bowl, it is close to being sold out already. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet for the first home game, man, you need to get out there. Joined now by Steven Gonzalez, offensive lineman for the St. Louis Battlehawks. How hyped up are you right now, man? You're 48 hours or so away from game 1 of the season.
Very excited. Very, very excited. We've been preparing, obviously, all camp and, all off season, getting ready for this opportunity. So, this is the first game, opener, get to show the fans what we're going to be like, what they're going to expect during the season. So, yeah, this is going to be a great opportunity for us, and we're super excited to get started.
Yeah, and I've talked about this, with some of the other, with Coach Becht and some of the others, about how quickly you guys have been, and everybody else in the league, have been gone from complete strangers to a team. And that takes a lot of work in a very, very short amount of time because, I'm sure you knew a few of the guys, but man, when it comes to putting together a team, you had to get to know each other really, really fast. What's the mindset in the clubhouse, in the locker room when it comes to getting out on the field?
It's honestly just comes down to team bonding, communication at the end of the day. A lot of communication has to go into it. We have to be talking every day about plays, and even just team bonding in general. That's how our communication can build up and get better. So, it's just a lot of things that work into it. But honestly, we've done a very good job of team bonding and, being able to communicate with each other well. And, like I said, I think we're running very fluidly at this moment. And, like I said, I think we all bonded really well. We all have similar connections as well from college, whether it be from college or the NFL. So, a lot of the guys know each other, somewhat. And now we all know each other as brothers. So, like I said, we're ready to go.
What do you know about the San Antonio Brahmas?
They're going to be a physical, tough team. They're coached, obviously, by Hines Ward, who's a Hall of Famer, built his career on toughness, physicality. So, he's going to have his team ready to go. Alamo Dome's going to be rocking. So, it's going to be very tough, in the first couple quarters. But, we need to handle our business. And if we handle our business, I think we'll be okay. But like I said, very tough team, very physical. They're going to come out. They're going to punch us in the mouth. So, we just got to be ready to come out and be physical just as much.
We're visiting with Steven Gonzalez, offensive lineman for the St. Louis Battlehawks. So you're on the O-line, that line of scrimmage right behind you. Your job is to protect A.J. McCarron and let him do his thing. How has he been in preseason and in camp so far?
He's looked very good. Just making great throws. Obviously, we got to give him the protection, the time he needs, and obviously, to, get to the lines faster, obviously with a shorter play clock so he has time to make his audibles and his adjustments. But, he puts us in the right place, at the right time, puts us always in the right look. And, if he's throwing the ball, he's always going to put literally throw the ball in the rope. So, he's a great leader for us. He's, someone that's going to definitely lead us to win a lot of games for sure.
All right. The game's going to be, all the games are going to be on national TV, and we'll give out that information here in just a minute or so, Stephen. But first 3 games on the road. So what kind of challenge does that bring? Because every XFL town, kind of like St. Louis, every XFL town's excited to have football in town. So I imagine it's going to be a party atmosphere no matter where you are in the league. But man, starting the first 3 games of the year on the road, man, that's an uphill climb.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a test for us, but honestly, we look at it as a good challenge. We're obviously going to be on the road for the first 3 games, so it's going to be a great challenge for us. Get to see all the away crowds right from the start, and then once we're back home, we'll be welcomed and we'll be greeted as such. So, like I said, it'll be a good battle test for us, and like I said, it'll be a good way. Honestly, we look at it as a positive. We get to start on the road the first 3 games and really test ourselves.
Yeah, you weren't on the Battlehawks back in 2020 or the last season before it got shut down, mid-season because of all the closures and shutdowns. But what do you know? And what have they been telling you to expect from St. Louis fans?
Very passionate. I mean, I visited the city when we had a fan fest at the Armory a couple weeks ago, and very passionate. There was about 800 people there. I was very impressed by that. It reminded me a lot of Penn State, which, they have a lot of fanatics in their fan base. But I love that, it shows that they're passionate, that they're going to come out to every game, that they're going to be supportive. So, and, that's what we need. We need the fan support, especially when, after the 3 away games, we come back home we need the whole dome packed.
And by the way, the game on Sunday is the afternoon game, 2 o'clock our time, 2 o'clock Central Time versus the San Antonio Brahmas, and that is being carried on ABC. Okay, so last final game checks. I mean, you're getting ready to go. What's that final moments of prep look like for the team? I mean, obviously on the offensive side like you are, but for the team in general, when you say, okay, now it's real, now we're not in practice jerseys, we're in the real deal. What are those last-minute steps that's happening with the team?
Honestly, it's all just fine-tuning at this moment, making sure, we have our technique down, making sure, we know all of our assignments, making sure, we're brushed up on our personnel, brushed up, on, their personnel, making sure we know what their guys like to do, what they like to do on defense, and, vice versa with the defense, what they like to do on offense. So, we're just trying to fine-tune all these techniques, fine-tune all of our mental stuff so that we, by the time Sunday comes around, we're all ready to go. We feel good. We feel confident. We feel prepared. So, that's honestly the preparation right now at this moment.
All right, last question, kind of a loaded one, but what's your favorite part about being a part of the Battlehawks team right now, Stephen?
Honestly, my favorite part is just being on a team. I mean, I haven't played football in, a year and a half since I've been, the last time I played football was with the Jets in minicamp in May. And then the last time I really played football was in August 2021 with the Bills. Well, May to August, but so for me, honestly, it's just the opportunity of getting to play football again, getting to play football for St. Louis. Obviously, a very, supportive city with supportive fans. Honestly, it's a blessing. It's a great opportunity for me. It's a great opportunity for my career. And honestly, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm, ready to win a championship for the city of St. Louis. So, we got to do whatever it takes.
All right, sounds good. And I will see you at the Dome on March 12th. But in the meantime, man, best of luck in San Antonio on Sunday.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yep, you got it. Steven Gonzalez, offensive lineman for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Again, 2 o'clock our time, 2 o'clock on ABC. That is where you're going to be able to see the Battlehawks invade San Antonio. I'm stoked about this, Stell. I'm looking forward to it. I've missed football, and I'm excited St. Louis has got a team, and the way that we took in the Battlehawks, I hope that happens again.
And not only do we miss football here in St. Louis, but for those of us who haven't been watching the NFL because of our disagreements with the league in general, this is great having the Battlehawks back.
Going to be a lot of fun. Football that's just football. Going to be great. All right, just ahead, what are some ways that we can go out of our way just to do something nice for somebody else? I know that's not what you expect on a hardcore political show, a news show like this. But every once in a while, you got to step back and say, hey, we're not just making the world better by winning political debates. Let's do some things heart to heart as well. What are your ideas? We'll talk about that just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Well, we all made it to Friday. We'll have Zach Smith, our legal eagle, at 4:25. At 5:25, The Economy with Dr. Aaron Hedlund.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Weekdays at 3:30
on News Talk STL.
iHelp is the immigrant home English learning program here in St. Louis that helps empower immigrant families by providing individualized in-home English language education and tools for the effective navigation of our community. iHelp connects volunteer teachers with adult immigrant and refugee learners in our community to develop English and life skills. To learn more or to volunteer as a tutor, visit ihelpstl.org. That's ihelpstl.org.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, what's a good way to go out of your way to be nice to someone today? I'm not always accused of being the most nice, kind, gentle person out there, but I do love this. We've got some ideas, and I want to hear yours as well. 314-912-1019 on National Random Acts of Kindness Day. All right, just ahead here, News Talk STL's own Todd Showalter, political cartoonist and satirist extraordinaire, going to kind of review the week in the news with us here at 8:05. This is going to be a blast, as only Todd can do it.
Todd's a fun guy, so I'm looking forward to it.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fire at him. Here's what happened in the week. Here are the facts, and get his take on it. And I have a feeling it's going to be punditry like no other punditry in St. Louis.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, man, that's at 8:05, 7:51 right now. So if you notice unexpected acts of kindness today, there is actually a coordinated reason for it. Fox News' Tanya J. Powers has more.
Make kindness the norm. That's the theme today for this year's Random Acts of Kindness Day. It was started in 1995 in Denver, Colorado by the nonprofit Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. Being kind isn't just a nice thing to do, it's also good for our physical and mental health. Studies have shown that performing acts of generosity lower blood pressure, among other benefits. Small acts like holding the door for a stranger, petting an animal, or bringing coffee to a colleague can have an effect as well. Researchers say even witnessing acts of kindness has been shown to increase well-being. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
All right, I really like this. I mean, I really do. What are some ways, and by the way, what are your suggestions? 314-912-1019. What's something that you can do? What jumps into your head when I say, okay, Stel, you're going to go just do something to do something good for somebody else? What's the first thing you think of?
I have to admit, probably the one I enjoy doing most is going through a drive-up line at a not a restaurant, not necessarily a restaurant, but a drive-through window, and go ahead and put $5 towards somebody.
Oh, nice.
Behind me.
Yeah.
And I kind of like doing that.
A couple of times that I've done this is when you see like some waitress or waiter somewhere clearly having a lousy day. And I remember years ago, and the first time I ever did this, and it's had me doing this on occasion ever since. My kids and I, who were pretty little at the time, I think they were like junior high sort of age at the time, and we were at like a Waffle House or Pancake House or some place like that, and clearly something was going on in this waitress's life that was rough, and it was kind of the holiday season, and so I just decided I was going to give a kind of a big stupid tip.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure that we got out of there before she got to the thing to see it. And so I just did that extra tip. For us, it could be, okay, it's an extra $10 or $20 or $25 or whatever it is. But that makes a huge difference in somebody's life. So if you're out, like going out to eat and in a tipping environment like that, that's one way, a really easy way to just like for fun, just to do something really nice.
Yeah. And I hate to be Mr. Sarcasm, but yeah, it's fun until the Biden administration decides to go after tips for waiters and waitresses.
Some others on this list that I was given saying basic things like if you're running to the grocery store, just text a neighbor just to say, hey, do you need anything?
Mm-hmm.
Which somebody will probably go, what in the world? But no, that's really nice. I also think that one of the things you could do is today or this weekend, maybe today, think of somebody, go through your contacts in your phone, a friend you have not talked to in a long time, and just give them a call. Just say hi. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. What's up? What's new with you?
That's a good idea.
People love that stuff.
Yeah.
I like that stuff.
It would be somewhat shocking probably on the other end of the line. Wow. I haven't heard from you in ages.
But it shows how we're disconnected.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit ago about artificial intelligence. We wonder how can that come in and take over so much of what it's going to take over in our lives. Well, this is one of the reasons. Because we don't stay connected like this. How about another one? Anything else jump to your mind still?
Let's see. I really like doing the drive-up window thing, and I agree with you on tipping, especially as someone who, as a kid, worked in the restaurant business. And yes, the tipping part is very, very nice and very appreciated.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything else right off the top of my head, though.
Well, how about this is another one. Because I don't buy lottery tickets, but one of the things on the list here, buy a lottery ticket and then just hand it to a stranger.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Give them hope for a split second.
Yeah.
They can be crushed that night when they check the news. But at least you gave them hope for just a split second.
Or you can be crushed when they
that's right, when they win and you're like,
they get
I
a grand.
Had that.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That's a good idea. I like that one.
Yeah, that was it was one of these things that said a list of 5 things you can do for random acts of kindness day. They talked about the grocery store, texting a neighbor, leaving the bigger tip. We talked about that, buying the lottery ticket. And this one just says smile and say hi to someone you pass by. Or go a step further and give them a genuine compliment. The only problem with that one is that we have gotten to the point where we're like, okay, what's wrong with you? You know, am I being softened up for something? We get very suspicious of people, and that's part of the problem. Somebody walks up to you and says, man, hi, Stella, I really like your shoes. That looks great. Boy, your smile looks great today. Your probably first reaction is going to be, what are you doing? Stay at least at arm's length from me. And that's sad, but that's kind of the world we live in as well.
You know, one thing Kathy and I have done over the years, especially when we had tickets for St. Louis Billiken games, is if we couldn't go there, give away our tickets to someone in our neighborhood who would rarely, if ever, go to a sporting event. That was fun.
That's really cool as well. Another thing, I just had it in my head and it just kind of went away. But another one listed here said, write a positive review for a small business that you go to pretty often. One of those places where you kind of get to know people out there. You can do that as well. But yeah, giving away the tickets, that's actually really cool as well. I mean, people, why not? That's great.
Especially if it's a family with kids, because we had a couple families a couple doors down from us. They had kids, and I'm sure that they had rare opportunities to be able to do something like that. So it was fun to be able to say, hey, we've got these extra tickets. Go to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Always enjoyed that.
Yeah, without any question whatsoever. All right, just ahead here. This is going to be fun. Todd Showalter, if you are subscribed to the News Talk STL newsletter, you see one of his political cartoons every week when we send that out. Great satirist, great political cartoonist. We're going to review the week with Todd Showalter at 8:05, maybe 8:04, and get his hot takes on that. This is going to be a lot of fun right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, analysis, opinion.
What China did was completely unacceptable and a real threat to American sovereignty.
We're a nation now that has abandoned sovereignty. We do not know the origin of any of these objects.
This is News Talk STL.
Shooting down a balloon. What's gone on the last 10 days has been nothing short of craziness. It's a violation of national law. It's our airspace.
The southern border is no longer enforced. Look at how China could fly a spy balloon over our country. What's next?
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL and newstalkstl.com.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Hey, Pocket Watchers. By now, I know you heard that the IRS is hiring 87,000 more agents. What does that mean? More collections, more audits. If you have a tax problem, unfiled tax returns, a large tax bill that you can't handle, give my office a call, 314-776-9076. I have years of experience of representing clients before the IRS to resolve tax problems. So stop hiding. Sticking your head in the sand is not going to make this go away. Give my office a call, 314-776-9076. Thornton Advisor Group is here to help you. Set up your free consultation to get an understanding of what's going on with your IRS case. Stop ignoring those letters. Give my office a call, 314-776-9076, or visit us online at thorntonadvisor.com.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Frustration is growing among residents of East Palestine, Ohio, following the train derailment that filled the air and water with toxic chemicals, leaving frightened residents pleading with officials for answers as they watch animals get sick and die, and some of the residents themselves suffer illness. On the heels of a routine medical exam giving President Biden a clean bill of health, the White House responding to the idea of mandatory mental tests for older politicians.
When she launched her 2024 presidential bid this week, Nikki Haley called for term limits in Congress and mandatory mental competency tests for politicians over 75 years old. Reaction from the White House, where President Biden is 80 years old.
He's clearly capable in so many ways and so many levels.
Haley is the first Republican to join the 2024 presidential field after former President Trump, who is 76. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Arizona Republican gubernatorial candidate Carrie Lake is not going away, vowing to appeal to the state Supreme Court following an appeals court ruling that rejects her challenge to the outcome of the election. The very same storm system that brought blizzards to the plains delivered thunderstorms, even some tornadoes, parts of the South, but the worst may be over, at least for now.
As we go forward into today, the threat of severe weather is less than it has been. We still have the potential for some thunderstorm activity from the Florida Panhandle northward along the coastal areas of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina.
The update from the National Weather Service's Bob Oravec. There is a bail hearing scheduled today for 5 former Memphis police officers facing murder and other charges in the violent arrest and subsequent death of Tyree Nichols. On Wall Street, Dow futures down 129 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
A spy at Berlin.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The news and talk. This is Chinese surveillance balloon program that matters to St. Louis.
In the radical left's America,
It's a story of progress and resilience.
to believe every story I hear.
This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, Stell, let me get this straight. Gabe Pfeiffer's in Hawaii. Todd Showalter's in Florida. And it snowed here.
What are we doing here?
Exactly. Hey, Mike Ferguson here with Stel Ponticus. Okay, Todd Showalter is the political cartoonist and satirist extraordinaire for News Talk STL. If you get our newsletters, then you see his cartoons every week. If you don't get our newsletters, then, well, you're just missing out. That's your fault because you can subscribe to that really easy at newstalkstl.com. And Todd joins us right now. And so, Todd, I guess congrats. You're in Florida, and we're here in sweatshirts because it snowed last night.
Yeah, I know. Well, somebody's got to do it, right? I'm just trying to hold down the fort, but I'm heading back, because part of the deal with you guys is that I got to shovel the snow for Jeff, and so I got to shovel his walk, and I got to get back there before you guys let me go. But anyway,
got it.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I no complaints, no complaints.
No, yeah, and way to take one for the team there with the Florida weather. All right, here's what I want to do is I want to go over some of the bigger stories of the week and just get your responses and hot takes to them. Let's start with this.
Sure.
Just over the past week, we now know that the Biden administration ordered the U.S. military to blow out of the sky 3 things that turned out to be absolutely nothing dangerous, including a set of balloons from the Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Battalion hobbyist group. That was one of the things taken out by a Sidewinder missile. So
Sure.
Give me your take on the President of the United States having things blown up that it turns out, they were just literally a version of the movie Up.
Basically, they always have balloons at the circus, and it's Joe's clown show. And so, basically, I think they had too many balloons, and Joe got upset about it because it was distracting, from the next little show he was going to put on. But I mean, no, in all seriousness, I mean, a lot of it, I still want to know what happened to these documents, that we were rummaging through the garage for, a few weeks ago. And now all of a sudden we're shooting down balloons. I don't know what's next. I see like Camilla on the top of a building dropping watermelons off or something like that to distract us. So, I mean, a lot of it is just pure silliness, but it's also just a giant distract. I mean, granted, if these balloons were something, important, I could see that. But I think you would know with the, the high technology and everything that we have these days that, this is just, Uncle Fester's balloon flying over a farm. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's a lot of it's smoke and mirrors, and a lot of it's just pure silliness that goes with, it's par for the course with this whole administration.
Todd, the thought did cross my mind that maybe there were classified documents in the balloons.
Yes, along with Hillary's emails. But I think, Stella, you're dead on there. Okay. And now now I've got to do a whole new cartoon here because you let the
cat out of the bag. Okay.
But, yeah. So I don't know. What can, I mean, every day, like I've said millions of times, even on the show, your guys' show. I mean, it's hard to keep up with this guy. I mean, every time you're drawing something about him, he just up trumps himself. Oh, I said the word Trump. And does something even more stupid. I mean, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. So now we have balloons. I mean, I can't wait to see what's next. I mean, I can only imagine we're going to have, we're going to be taken over by hamsters or something. Who knows? So UFOs, that's next.
Yes.
I mean, so it's pure craziness,
And gas stoves. We've got to deal with the gas stove.
I already did. I want you to know the whole time that I've been down in Florida, I've been cooking everything over a candle. Just so that I didn't want to, in any way harm the environment or, not put money into the electric stove company's pockets, which that's the other thing. Who's behind this? I mean, I see like these electric stove guys say, hey, sales are a little short. Let's just all of a sudden say gas stoves are going to ruin the world. To me, it's just a little fishy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Doesn't make much sense.
And in the meantime, of course,
it's kind of like the grocery stores. When every time it snows, I think they're in on all that. So it's the same thing with the gas stoves. It's like let's call up and say gas stoves are going to, kill grandma, so we can sell more electric stoves. It doesn't sound right.
All right, and Joe Biden given a glowing, clean bill of health after his physical. We are told, Todd, that he is a remarkably vigorous, healthy 80-year-old man.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go to that doctor, okay? So let's just mark him up. Is it Dr. Fauci that did his physical? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure who this doctor actually is. And obviously, it wasn't a psychologist or a psychiatrist because I think you would have gotten a whole different outcome on that one. So, I mean, come on. We're supposed to believe Dr. Fauci, who, again, has proven to be yet another character in the clown circus. And now we're supposed to believe this doctor. So, no, I mean, I'm not buying any of that either. So I don't buy really anything that comes out of this, that whole administration, to tell you the truth, aside that, it can't get any sillier than it already has been. So, I mean, what did you expect, though? It's like, I mean, they go, oh, my gosh, you're right. Joe is a complete imbecile, and he's in his mid-80s, and he's getting old, and he should be in a nursing home. They're not going to say that. No.
And no cognitive test either.
No, of course not. Of course not. Well, he can't spell that to begin with, so that should have been the test. Okay, so, I mean, let's not make it too difficult on the guy. So, no, of course not. And what was this physical? What'd they do? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see, Joe doing a stress test, but, I'm not buying any of that. I mean, I could have given you that, that outcome before they even did it.
Okay, some local news happened yesterday. The organizers of the Soulard Mardi Gras Parade and the police and fire saying, all right, getting ready to have Mardi Gras here in St. Louis. Rule number one, and they publicly reminded everybody, please don't pee on the street.
Right. Well, see, that's why I came to Florida, because they let you pee. And as you guys well know, I'm a dedicated public peer, and so I wanted to make it a point to be out of town about that. So I mean, there's certain things I guess that is so that we don't become San Francisco and Nancy Pelosi comes and invades us. I guess that's a good little nugget to throw out there. I think most people, unless you're two, know that you really shouldn't pee in the street. But I guess they say anything about shooting people, because maybe they should have thrown that little one in there too. Along with not peeing, because you don't want to pee on people. Don't shoot people and don't pee in the street. That's what I would post those signs.
Yeah, they did not remind people to not shoot each other, just not to pee on the sidewalk.
Now, well, see, there you go, Mike. Now the dogs are going to be living with the cats. Okay, all hell's going to break loose. Okay, because now we're going to have people that are holding it, crossing their legs, shooting people. Okay, so. I mean, that they've got to know how to lay these things out. All right. So, I mean, to me, I'd rather have some guy pee in the street than shoot me, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, you can be picky like that, I guess, if you want to,
Well, I am. Yeah, and that's, I am kind of picky like that, but that's just me.
Okay, so Don Lemon from CNN gives us some gold. He's reacting to Nikki Haley, who is 51 years old, announcing she's running for president by having this commentary on women.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
We need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing?
Okay, so one of the hosts actually walked off the set. Don Lemon, who obviously knows so much about women, right? Has that comment that Nikki Haley shouldn't be talking about politicians who are in the adult diaper stage of life when she's 51 and past her prime.
Yeah. Well, a prime is, what is prime these days, right? And again, when you bring Don Lemon into the scenario, I think Don Lemon should be the one, coming up with these Mardi Gras, stipulations, yet that we don't pee on the street, because we all know that he's another cognitive genius. That's the thing. Age just goes out the window with some of these people. And, how the one that you're talking about, the other one, who was like the 20-something that you were talking about?
That was, what was her name? Something Cotton, his co-host on CNN. See, like most of America, I don't watch CNN, so I didn't catch her.
Right, I don't watch that either.
Yeah.
So she's saying, okay, so it's all distorted, and so it doesn't make any sense. As far as prime, is Joe in his prime? I guess he is. If he's going to live to be 200 years old, God help us all. But I don't. Again, along with the Biden administration and everything else, CNN kind of falls into that category of things that I just don't take seriously. And so anything that they say immediately goes out the window with me.
We're talking with Todd Showalter. And Todd, you're down in Florida. Spring training is getting underway.
I'm not going to make the team again this year. Apparently.
Well, I know your arm's been bothering you, and I totally understand that. But we did want to ask you because you've got plenty of knowledge about baseball, and we lost one of the best yesterday in Tim McCarver. And I didn't know if you had any memories of Tim and his great career here in St. Louis, along with the other teams that he was with, the Phillies, the Expos, and the Red Sox.
I don't remember when he played. As you know, we were talking about age earlier, and as you guys know, I'm only 12 years old. So. That kind of caught me by surprise. I didn't even know that he was sick or what the deal was, but he was definitely, in my opinion, one of the best. I don't want to say the best, but I remember reading and hearing about all the years that he had with the Cardinals and stuff like that. But I remember him best as a broadcaster.
Yes.
And
yes.
He certainly just had an iconic voice, and I loved. It was almost like a storytelling type of announcing that he did. Which, I don't know. It just really caught me by surprise. So that's a big loss. So I didn't know about it until yesterday because I guess that's when it happened. But that really caught me off guard.
Yeah, same here. I don't think any of us were expecting it either.
Yeah, highly respectable, all-star career as a player. But, as a broadcaster, truly just one of the top guys out there. And I love that you put it that way. Great storytelling. He brought the game to life in a way that so many others just can't today.
Yeah, and I remember a couple occasions he actually came in the Cardinals booth recently, and he was co-hosting. I don't know if it was with McLaughlin or who it was with, but I mean that was really nice for him to come back to.
Yeah.
It seems like he was just a down-home guy, even though he had all this national prominence. So yeah, that's a huge loss because there's certain names or voices rather, I should say. Vin Scully, Jack Buck, and I think he falls into that team, that group rather, that you hear his voice and you just think baseball. So very sad to hear that.
Without a doubt. Todd, really appreciate you being on the show. I'm
on my way back now because apparently my son that's watching the house, it's infested by squirrels, monkeys, and Bud Light.
Oh.
So I have to get back, and then I also got to shovel Jeff's walk.
Right.
So anyway, so I'll get back there as soon as I can. And hey, we make sure that Mike.
Oh, we lost you there, Todd.
We lost you there for a second. Say it again.
Oh, I just wanted to say I hope that you made sure that my curling iron for the mullet was turned off.
Oh, yeah. No, we got you. You're safe. I am not endangering that thing at all.
Okay, well, I'll see it when I get back then. You guys take care, and thanks for having me on.
You got it, Todd Showalter. And I'm telling you, you got to subscribe to our newsletter. You get one of his cartoons every week. They are so much fun. He's so good at what he does. 314-912-1019. Going to bring you up to date on a bunch of different stories so you can go into the weekend fully informed before you go down to Soulard and pee on the street. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
On Friday, we'll get you ready for the weekend with all the latest news and headlines you need to know. Plus, we'll get the weekend forecast from Steve Templeton at 2:45 and wrap up your week with a little Friday fun time.
Weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
The great Larry Connors. Thank you. And then, by the way, everybody in the poker room's asking about you. They miss your money.
Second person to say it that way. Not my company. They miss my money.
Well, people are going hungry.
I'm hanging up the playing cards, Larry. It comes to a point when you realize you just don't have it.
I'll teach you.
Okay.
It'll cost you.
Yeah, of course. Right. More about taking money.
Vic Porcelli. Weekday mornings at 9
on News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
CNN's Don Lemon makes this remark about Nikki Haley's age, and it didn't go over well. I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
Democrats just want to win the next election, and they're trying to do it with ceaseless money printing. They do not care if the value of your retirement is sacrificed. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. It is critical to protect your retirement right now with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. Text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold.
A fan of Nikki Haley, and I think she has a snowball's chance in hell of winning the Republican nomination, much less presidency, but it has nothing to do with her age. That's apparently not the case in Don Lemon's view. In a discussion with his female co-anchors, Don Lemon claimed that at 51 years old, Nikki Haley is not in her prime, and he went on to say, according to Google, the prime age for a woman is in her 20s through maybe 40s. Can you imagine if a conservative male anchor said this of Kamala Harris, or any female for that matter? It's blatant sexism and ageism and completely tone deaf. Now, Don Lemon did tweet out a half-baked apology where he recognized that a woman's age doesn't define her personally or professionally. Blah, blah, blah. We get it, Don. You put your foot in your mouth and you offended pretty much every woman in America. But don't worry, we won't cancel you because unlike the perpetually triggered and fragile left, we will get over it. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight at 7 o'clock. But right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through.
Okay, let's kind of look at what's happening around the area, around the country, going to the weekend. Fully informed so that you can, I guess, drink it all away at Mardi Gras. Oh, man. All right. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, we mentioned that he was taking some Republican colleagues to the border, and he did that on Thursday. They went to Tucson. And McCarthy, talking to reporters, pointing a finger at the head of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, who faces impeachment efforts from the Republicans in the House right now.
No one believes our border is secure. Not the border agents, not America. Mayorkas has no integrity to continue to say that.
Yeah, and of course the White House is saying, but the border is in great shape. We've got it secured. This is just a publicity stunt. Don't look here, please. That's essentially what the answer is from the White House. Just ridiculous. All right, speaking of the president, we're learning now that there was another search for classified documents at a college in President Biden's home state of Vermont. Fox News' Jackie Heinrich reports at the White House, and the question we're going to ask right after this is, why didn't we know about this?
We can confirm that the FBI searched the University of Delaware on 2 occasions for Biden classified documents. We are told that they didn't find any with classified markings, but they did take some materials for additional review. We don't know when the searches happened. We're told that they were consensual. The FBI and the DOJ are not commenting, and as we expected, the White House also punted questions. The press secretary declined to say what prompted the search, but it is the 4th location tied to Biden that federal investigators have now combed through, and now the 2nd location that Biden's attorneys did not voluntarily disclose.
Here's what's weird is if they went through and did the search, found nothing classified, that seems to me that would be something they would want to lead with. But we're now just finding out that it happened and nobody wants to talk about it, when you would think conventional wisdom still would say, see, told you so, we're cooperating completely.
You know, for an administration that said that they were going to be so transparent when they started out, they seem to be the least transparent administration in, I don't know, maybe history. I'm totally stunned at how little, not only do they disclose to us, but how little they actually take action on issues like this. And we have the derailment in Ohio. We have other stuff going on around the country. We have folks in the administration in different positions that, in my estimation, don't really belong there. The incompetence goes up and down the line.
Yeah, completely. Here's an interesting situation that's happening in Jefferson City that affects the St. Louis area in particular. Missouri lawmakers are working on a proposal to force local governments actually pay for electric vehicle mandates, electric vehicle charging station mandates. And this targets St. Louis County. So basically what's happened is St. Louis County recently, we talked about it on the show over the past, 4 or 5 months, whenever it was that this came up, is that if you went to redo a parking lot or you went to build a new business or apartment complex or whatever, they had a formula where they require so many electric vehicle charging stations. Well, these things cost $5,000 to $10,000 to just to build and install. So some developer wants to come in and take a retail area and spruce it up and redevelop it. If they're going to redo the parking lot at all, according to the county ordinance now, they have to spend maybe tens of thousands of dollars on electric vehicle charging stations and provide that for people. Apartment complexes, condo complexes, they now have to add that into their cost of businesses. So State Representative Jim Murphy and some others are working on a law that says, okay, if you mandate it, then you have to pay for it. What's your take on that?
I would agree with that. And did they not think of any of this before they implemented all this Green New Deal stuff? It doesn't seem like they thought ahead on any of this.
Well, here's an even worse thought. They did. And they're doing it
They had this all set up, and
that they actually said, yeah, we know what this will do to people. Let's do it.
And we're going to make them pay for it.
Yeah, and we'll make them pay for it. So it's sending a clear message, and this is clearly targeting St. Louis County, and it should. But here's the other aspect, because I thought, too, the first thing I thought, good, you want to mandate that? Then take it out of your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, I'm a taxpayer in St. Louis County. Does that mean I'm now paying for everybody else's EV charging station that I don't want to pay for? I mean, this shouldn't be a requirement. But I live in Richmond Heights, where the city actually has an ordinance that if you build a new house or you build a new housing, anything, you're supposed to be required to put an electric vehicle charging station in your private residence. So if I decide to buy some land, there's not that much land in Richmond Heights that's available. But if I buy some land and I build a house there, I'm required by city ordinance to install an electric vehicle charging station, whether I ever want to own an EV or not.
And speaking of installation of these outlets, what about folks who rent? How about folks who are in apartment buildings, in lofts, etc.? Where are these folks going to be able to charge up their vehicles? I'm dumbfounded by the fact that it's putting people behind the eight ball everywhere.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who are going into buying electric vehicles, but there really aren't that many for instance, the state of Missouri. Instance, I don't know what the numbers are in Illinois, but it's estimated that when you look at registered vehicles in the state of Missouri, I mean, I saw the report a little bit earlier. I mean, it's in the 5 figures. I mean, so it's over 10,000, but still, you've got 6 million people in Missouri, and that's all the electric vehicles are out there. And these costs can be just astronomical. I think they're taking the "if you build it, they will come" mindset to this.
Seems like it.
But that's a really, really expensive mindset. All right, former Major League Baseball player and Hall of Fame broadcaster Tim McCarver has died. Fox News' Eric Messersmith has a look back at his life.
During his playing days, McCarver won a pair of World Series titles as a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, and then went on to an incredibly successful career analyzing the game on TV. After retiring, McCarver quickly became one of the most recognizable broadcasters in the game and became known nationally, especially during his nearly 2 decades at Fox. He was the lead analyst for more than 20 World Series broadcasts and won 6 Emmys for his work on television. As a player, McCarver was a 2-time All-Star during his 21-year career and formed a successful partnership with Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Gibson. Tim McCarver was 81. I'm Eric Messersmith, Fox News.
Yeah, successful partnership is that's one way to say it. Absolute legacy. They literally changed the rules of Major League Baseball after the 1968 season because Bob Gibson was so dominant. And I'm a catcher. I'm in baseball still. I will be biased and say great pitchers really get a benefit out of really good catchers.
Yes, that's true. And Tim was one of those, along with others back in the 60s. Boy, the 60s and 70s just had a plethora of great ones, including your favorite in the 70s, Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench.
Just some quality catchers. And, boy, I think back on Tim's career, and we were talking a little bit earlier about the fact that he must have been called up very young by the Cardinals. And to have a 21-year Major League career is awesome. And to look back on that, and he was with 4 teams, beloved here in St. Louis, and the jokes about the relationship he had with Bob Gibson. I mean, Bob off the field, I know most folks know that he was a tiger on the field, and you couldn't really even talk to him at all. Off the field, he was a really nice guy.
He was always nice to me. I mean, the few times that I got a chance to visit with him, he was always really cool to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another very talented athlete who could have played with the Harlem Globetrotters. I think he did have a little run with them.
Yep.
Great basketball player and baseball player, all around top-notch athlete. But to lose Tim yesterday was a shocker. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either. So Godspeed to Tim McCarver. All right, the Blues make it 3 wins in a row. They beat the New Jersey Devils at home last night. Final score there was 4-2. Blues are off today. They are back on the ice at Enterprise Saturday afternoon, the early game, to take on Colorado.
1 p.m., I believe, at Enterprise?
I think that's right. Yeah,
okay.
It's the early afternoon game. All right, just ahead, there is something happening at a small college in the Mid-South that's got people all over the country talking about it. Some people are calling it revival. Some people are calling it other things. What's actually going on and what's it mean? We'll get into that in about 4 minutes or so right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
dug our treasures there.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What China did was completely unacceptable and a real threat to American sovereignty.
What happens next?
We are a nation now that has abandoned sovereignty.
Happens right here.
We do not know the origin of any of these objects.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cold morning out there with temperatures in the mid-20s and skies mostly clear, but we are going to have a chilly day today and breezy too. 38 degrees with wind chills in the 20s and a northwest wind at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. Overnight lows tonight near 30. The high on Mardi Gras Saturday in the mid-50s. It will be in the 40s at parade time in the morning. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, we should make it to 60 to 61 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
The Rob Carter Show.
How good is that Pure Cure coffee? Are you loving it?
Oh, yeah.
Pure Cure coffee is fantastic. What I like about this coffee, other than the multiple flavors, and I love the smell. You know, my wife and I get up every morning, we have the Pure Cure coffee. I love the taste. Listen, it's better coffee. PureCureCoffee.com. PureCure coffee.com. Get yourself some. It is fresh, delicious coffee, multiple flavors. Pure Cure Coffee. Get some. PureCureCoffee.com. PureCure coffee.com.
There's only one unforgivable crime in America today, and that's standing up against the left. This is Mark McCloskey, proud to join the News Talk STL team, and I plan on committing that crime every chance I get on the air and every day of our lives. And I encourage all of the listeners and all the people of America to stand up against the left, to reclaim our freedoms, and we're going to do it on this radio station and throughout the country.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
Join me on this quest to preserve our freedoms and make sure this government works for us.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic. Everyone here at News Talk STL is incredibly grateful for the growth in our business during the first 18 months since we signed on the air. We appreciate the great local businesses like Southern Armory, Rhino Shield, Steph's Pizza, and the Wallner team that have become one of our many advertising partners. If your business is interested in becoming part of the News Talk STL family, simply send an email to info@newstalkstl.com. We have a wide variety of affordable advertising options. And thanks for listening to News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic rights and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
It actually is going to get a little bit warmer, as I understand it, over the weekend. So if you're heading out to Soulard for the Mardi Gras stuff, you actually should have a pretty good day. It's going to be up into the
50s?
low 50s.
Good.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And more sunshine, I think, by Sunday, supposedly.
That is correct.
Okay.
You are correct, sir.
Okay.
Stel Ponticus. I just recently found out you majored in meteorology.
I did for almost 3 years until the math killed me. And it literally did. We got the syllabus for the end of my junior year, and I realized, I'm barely surviving here getting C's. I'm not going to make it through all these advanced math courses. And so I had to make a decision to change majors. Yeah.
Did you want to be like a TV weatherman, or did you want to work for National Weather Service? What did you want to do?
Probably either one of those would have been fine. And the ironic thing is, just a couple of years after that, I met a guy from the Weather Channel when they were in Atlanta. I have no idea where they're based now, if they're still in Atlanta. Met the guy, and he invited me to work there. Hey, you know what? You majored in it for a few years. You love doing weather. Why don't you come down and join us? But it never would have worked out.
Yeah. Man, but here you are now.
Yeah, God had other plans. That's fine.
8:36 right now. That's Stel Ponticus. My name is Mike Ferguson. Over the past, week and a half or so, there's been something happening at a little college called Asbury University, which I frankly had never heard of before. But now people around the country are going to it, driving to it because of what they're seeing on social media and what they're seeing, in news reports and on, Christian media and things like that. And I don't really know how to describe it. There's a lot of people who are saying, it's a revival or it's an awakening. And you actually have some friends who did go down there because of what they were seeing.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, they just decided to do it at the last minute. And we've got Al Jackson on the line here. Al and his wife, Chris, decided, I think it was last Sunday, to just drop everything and drive down to Wilmore, Kentucky, which is where Asbury University is located, just southwest of Lexington. And Al joins us on the line. Good morning, Al. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fine, thanks. Tell us a little bit about what that decision was for you guys when you decided, hey, there's something going on down there at Asbury. I think we ought to go check it out. And you guys dropped everything to drive down there.
Yes, our pastor speaks about revival, and our church has been praying about revival. And then pastor this past Sunday mentioned both in the morning and the evening about Asbury. And, I was kind of fascinated by it and wanted to go. We had a trip planned for Monday, but it was postponed. But, I've got a larger bladder than my wife, so I said, I won't say anything to her. And then Sunday night after church, she's Googling it, and she reads about it, and she comes running in, let's go. And I said, okay, let's go. So off we went Monday.
So you guys dropped everything. You didn't have hotel reservations, correct? You just figured, okay, we'll go down there, see where we can stay, and check out the campus?
Well, close. Early Monday morning, she made reservations, and it ended up to be a Shaker Village about 20 minutes away. So we had reservations, and we drove there first, simply because I've been cheated by hotels before. If you don't get your room and key early, sometimes they'll sell it to somebody else. So we did that, and then we went to the revival.
So to give folks a little bit of a background here, Asbury, located just outside Lexington, had a big revival like this that started back on February 3rd of 1970. And if you look back at the history of this nation, you have some great spiritual awakenings that happened in the 1700s and the 1800s, both of those called the Great Awakening. And then you had Azusa Street Revival in 1906 on the West Coast, and the Latter Rain Movement around 1948, and that's where we saw Billy Graham and Oral Roberts and Catherine Kuhlman, folks like that, come to the forefront. And then Asbury, as a college campus, had a huge outbreak revival in 1970. Oddly enough, just days after the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl in 1970. So here we are now in 2023, just a few days, or right around the same time as the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and another revival breaks out where they had a chapel in the middle of the morning on Wednesday, I think it was February 9th, correct? Or February 6th? I think
Wednesday.
It was Wednesday of last week. And the 10 p.m. chapel service just went on, and it was as though God broke in on them. And that's what you guys got to see when you were down there. How did that feel like when you got on campus and then you wind up at Hughes Auditorium where thousands of people are involved in this?
Well, first I'll remind you, it's called the Kansas City Chiefs, not the Kansas City Saints.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay. What did I say? Sorry, Kansas City Chiefs.
No, I'm just saying, it's not. It seems like a coincidence.
Oh, I see what you're. Okay.
Happened. But anyway, the university claims that there have been 8 previous revivals at that school. So that's on their website. But anyway, it was quite a deal. And it's just like I've seen reports. Lots of people praying, just being run by the college students. There wasn't a lot of old people up there telling everybody what to do. And people would singing, and they'd sing the traditional or the new songs. Songs like "It's a Beautiful," Jesus, a beautiful name, or "Lord, I Need You," and the singers would be singing, and everybody would repeat what the singers were singing, and they would just go on, and then we'd have nice, some young people got up to give us some preaching, and it was good preaching. And then a woman got up and she was talking to us, and she says, at a certain point, we should be on our face, on our knees for God. And there's just thunderous noise, and everybody got out of their chairs and were on their knees. 1,500 people all at once. And And then it was dead silence as we listened to her prayer. And, again, I looked casually over, and a family near me, a woman and like 4 children, very young children, they were all on their knees. I mean, it was just very impressive. God was speaking to everybody there.
I heard one lady describe it as beautiful chaos, and it was as though God had just moved upon them, and everybody was at the mercy of the Holy Spirit, just moving through that area. And the awesome thing about it is you've got all these young kids on campus, and now you've got them going out to visit their friends in other cities. You got kids coming in from other campuses who want to check it out, and it's really spreading across the country like it did in 1970.
Yes, I believe so. And I think I'm hearing that they're restricting the actual Hughes Auditorium to just students because there's so many students coming in, and the adults are kind of being pushed over to other chapels. The night we were there, they opened up a chapel, and a chapel is not a small building. It's bigger than most churches. We looked at it. It filled up. They opened up a second chapel, and it filled up. So there's a lot of people moving in and out. A lot of, you can just feel the Spirit of God moving through the people as they come.
Now, when you guys got there, did you mention that you had come from St. Louis?
Well, that's how we finally got in. When we parked, all sorts of people were telling us that you won't be able to get inside. You'll have to go to the chapel. But when we got to the front door, we talked long enough, and he finally said, "Oh, just go in and take a look." And then we got to the next guard, and we told her, we're from St. Louis. So she said, "Oh, let me go find you a seat." And she went in, and we sat in the second row.
Oh, my. Wow, you guys got to go up front.
Yes, it was incredible.
Very nice, very nice. Well, we appreciate you sharing your story with us, and we're going to follow this as it continues over who knows how many days, because a revival like this, you don't know how long it's going to go on, how long God's going to be moving through that campus area and moving to other campuses around the country. So,
yes.
Again, thank you very much for sharing your story. Al Jackson's been our guest, and just keep us in touch. Let us know how things are progressing down there, because it's a great story to see this happening, especially with college-age kids and everything we've heard about Generation Z and how the situation with young kids, whether they've got a spiritual side or not. Now we're seeing that, God's really moving amongst Generation Z and folks who are in that 15 to 25 age group.
Yes, it was incredible. And there are a lot of adults there, too, and they're just standing back and letting the young people speak. It's just incredible. And there's a peace of God once you've been there, once you listen. It's just amazing.
That's great. Thanks, Al. Thank you for taking time to share your story with us.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. I've seen a lot of this on, social media, a lot of news, mostly the, Christian media, but others have
Tucker's had stories on it.
Had on it as well.
NBC News. YouTube has a lot of videos.
Just look up Asbury.
And if you go on Facebook, just look up Asbury Revival, and there are plenty of pages. Dr. Jim Garlow is another guy to check out on Facebook. He's got a ton of stories from there.
All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Well, we all made it to Friday. We'll have Zach Smith, our legal eagle, at 4:25. At 5:25, the economy with Dr. Aaron Hedlund.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Weekdays at 3:30
on News Talk STL.
Hey, Colombo here for Zero Res. February is the month for love, but when was the last time you gave your carpet the love it deserves? Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, so if it hasn't been cleaned, you're breathing unhealthy levels of germs. But Zero Res can help. If you book a cleaning now and mention the Colombo special, you'll get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119, plus they'll clean a hallway for free and take $75 off an air duct cleaning. This month only, so book now, 314-474-2020 or online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
One-party rule is not the answer. The city of St. Louis has been under a one-party rule for over 70 years. We have made a decision to change that on March 7th and April 4th. Hi, this is Mary Teresa McClain, chair of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. I want you to go to stlvoters.com now and meet our two candidates who will lead the charge and change history in our great city. Thank you for taking the time to go to stlvoters.com, where good decisions are made.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Police officers, they're 4 times more likely to suffer a fatal injury than any other job in America. What you may not know is that every day our police officers are left destitute after a critical injury, abandoned by the very system they serve.
I had the gunshot wound to the forehead. With the cut and pay, we had to sell our house.
I couldn't do anything that I used to be able to do. I wasn't the provider anymore.
So I took the first shot to my face, and then I took a second shot to the left side of my left breast.
Imagine being crippled in the line of duty, losing your ability to do your job or take care of your family, only to be denied medical benefits and have your pay cut when you need it most. This is why the Wounded Blue exists, to right this terrible wrong done to veteran police officers. To learn more about how you can make a difference in the lives of officers who've been critically injured in the line of duty, go to thewoundedblue.org today.
Border crisis, China. How to control inflation and violent crime.
News, analysis, opinion.
This is Biden's fault.
We're ready to next chapter.
I don't know the answer to that question, sir.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight at 7 o'clock. But right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
America's talking to Fox News.
Americans continue to dig deeper into their pockets and in some cases go without as prices on staples like meat, eggs, and fuel continue to rise.
Prices of eggs have gone up significantly.
Absolutely outrageous, especially when they used to be $1 a dozen.
We try to do our best, watch, and just try to ride through this. Hope it doesn't last too long. I try not to go out every day, just make a list and do the things that I need to do on that day. Save gas.
It's horrendous.
We actually purchased more chickens for more eggs. We cut back on the amount we purchase.
It's hard to manage.
It's getting out of hand.
We don't eat a lot of beef, and we don't grow it a lot either. We eat mostly at home.
All of our prices for all our materials have gone up from 22 to 26%, but that's not an increase we could pass on to our consumers. It would just not work.
You're watching what we're buying a little more carefully, no extravagant anything, and a little less travel. Yeah, it's tough.
America's talking to Fox News.
But remember, the White House keeps insisting that the Biden economic plan is working.
Don't worry, everything's fine.
Karina Jean-Pierre says we have the receipts. So do we.
Yeah.
And the numbers are a lot bigger than they used to be, Karina.
Yep. Those receipts at the grocery store.
They hurt.
They hurt, yeah.
Oh, man. 8:51 right now. Got Stel Pontigas here. My name is Mike Ferguson. Gabe Pfeiffer out on vacation still, but he did still manage to send us a howdy do. Here's what he had to say from the beach. And he sent me the video, and he's literally doing this on the beach.
Aloha from beautiful Waikiki Beach, Hawaii. I'm about halfway through my vacation, so it's only a matter of a few days before I'm back in the studio discussing the border crisis, the economic crisis, the ecological crisis, and the crisis of UFOs, apparently. I mean, don't worry. I'll be back in studio. We'll talk about all that stuff unless the aliens come and get us. No. It's okay. It's okay. I tripped.
Gabe Pfeiffer will be back on Thursday. Susie Moore from redstate.com going to be co-hosting with us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we talked to Todd Showalter. He's in Florida. Gabe's in Hawaii. And I walk out the back door this morning, and there's snow on the ground.
And you're wondering, why am I here?
Exactly. Oh, man. Okay, well, one of the key things that you want in any president is that they are there to oversee our national security and protect us from threats. I mean, that's one thing you elect. You elect a commander-in-chief. And President Biden was asked about, and he finally started talking about these flying objects that were shut down just over a week, well, not quite a week ago, by U.S. military forces. What did he actually protect us from? Turns out there might be an oops factor here. Fox News' David Spunt has the story.
The highlight of the president's announcement, 3 objects shot down since Friday, not tied to any enemy nations, but private companies, bringing up the possibility the administration may have overreacted after that Chinese spy balloon in early February. White House officials all the way up to the president insist there will be changes in the works in the way things are handled in the future relating to these unidentified flying objects, whatever you want to call them. He said that he'll share with Congress the policy parameters when they're done, but that will remain classified. So we don't give a, quote, roadmap to our enemies to try to evade our defenses going forward.
So they still haven't they still haven't collected all the pieces of the Chinese spy balloon, the actual spy balloon, because they blew it up over the ocean. And so it's floating all over the place, and they've had some weather issues. And so the thing that we actually need, they can't actually get that done, or so they say, but they go and just shoot down stuff in the air the next few days without even really knowing what it was. And the Chinese spy balloon, we knew what it was, and they let it complete its mission.
Once again, incompetence. And to be honest with you, it almost feels like they're working on distracting us from other major issues. In my estimation, the border, Ukraine, inflation, other things that are going on that they think, hey, you know what? This balloon thing would be a good distraction for everybody.
Yeah, let's go shoot other stuff.
Yeah.
Because what did they protect us from? Well, it turns out that one of the things that was shot down, the one that was shot down over basically near the coast of Alaska on the 10th, I think it was. Well, we're putting together piecing together some things. It seems that at the exact same time that the U.S. military says, okay, we shot down an object just off the coast of Alaska, that the let me get the right name right here, the Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade says, hey, where'd our balloon go?
I think Todd used to head up that organization.
So they put what they do is, this is a hobbyist group, and they put something called Mylar balloons. I'm not sure what those are, but they basically put a bunch of balloons together, and then they send them up in the air, which is, by the way, is legal. It's approved by the FAA. You can do this. And they just have a little tracking thing, and then they just kind of have fun watching where it goes around the world. Where's our balloon? And it was over the coast of Alaska, and it got taken down by a Sidewinder missile.
My goodness.
And jeez.
I think the Mylar ones would be the reflective ones. I think those are the ones.
Is that what they are?
They look like aluminum foil.
Nice, big, easy target.
Yeah.
For them to see. So the club is for balloon hobbyists. I mean, I've got baseball. Apparently they have balloons. And the name is a reference to a scene in the movie Up, the cartoon movie, where the guy puts all the balloons like on his house and goes in, where the old man gives the kid a merit badge that's actually a bottle cap, and that's where the name Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade happens. And so our Sidewinder missile took down a balloon that cost between $12 and $180. And the Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade tells the media, which is something they probably don't usually do, is talk to the media, but tells them that they lost contact with one of their balloons on February 10th, just off the coast of Alaska. That happens to be the time that the U.S. military says, we shot something down in the name of national security. So I'm glad that they were looking at national security at the time, but it might be a little better practice, not a military expert, to know what you're shooting at.
Yes.
Just saying.
And I would think that our reconnaissance planes and our total defense system would actually know what's up there.
You can take a picture or something.
Yes.
But that was the order. That was the order that was given.
Man.
And the marksman pilot hit it with a Sidewinder. Well done. And now the balloon bottle cap brigade is now out like $12.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And we're out $400,000 for the Sidewinder.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. All right. The big event in St. Louis, obviously this weekend, going to be the Mardi Gras parade in Soulard. and officials had a press conference, and they said, hey, here's what we're doing. They changed the parade route just a little bit, so watch for that. They said, please don't try to drive down to Soulard and don't try to park down there. It ain't going to happen. Take a Lyft, take a taxi, take something down there because there's going to be a lot of people. Going to be a nice day. Oh, and also, please don't pee on the sidewalks.
Okay.
Because apparently that's been a problem.
Yeah.
Let's be better than that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But the big thing, Sunday, 2 o'clock, St. Louis Battlehawks on the road against the San Antonio Brahmas. Go Battlehawks. Let's do a caw, Stell. Caw!
The latest news.
Canadian and American fighter jets were scrambled. American F-22 successfully shot down the object.
The news you need to know.
Have you ruled out aliens or extraterrestrials?
I haven't ruled out anything.
What China did was completely unacceptable and a real threat to American sovereignty.
What's gone on the last 10 days has been nothing short of craziness.
It's a violation of international law. It's our airspace.
And the place to talk about it.
Should alarm Americans.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, Jen Wallner here. As a former foster child myself, I have always been an advocate for foster children in our community. Angels Arms is an amazing organization that provides a stable, nurturing, and loving family environment for these children. They ensure these children have not only the childhood they deserve, but the resources needed to become successful, thriving adults. I truly believe that this organization is transforming lives, and I could not be more proud to be a small part of that accomplishment. For more information or to get involved, visit angelsarms.org.
Hey, Pocket Watchers. By now, I know you heard that the IRS is hiring 87,000 more agents. What does that mean? More collections, more audits. If you have a tax problem, unfiled tax returns, a large tax bill that you can't handle, give my office a call, 314-776-9076. I have years of experience of representing clients before the IRS to resolve tax problems.